Bee-dee-dee, bee-dee-dee, doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Bum-ba-da-dum. Alright, friends, what's happening? What's crapping? How are y'all? Okay, good. The notifications work. I was worried it wouldn't work. Aaron with the 2. First dono? Love you. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, thank you. Yes, first dono of the night. Coming in hot. Dropping the bills. Thank you, my friend. And Dayami. Leani with the 2 says, can you be my creepy neighbor? I can. I'm moving in right now. Next door. Peeking through the shades very ominously. Not to be dangerous, just, you know, I just want to see what's going on, what my neighbor's up to. Oh yeah, that song, oh shit, I had it open. It was called Lost Woods by SNES Switched On. And I heard it on Instagram and I'm like, sheesh, this is some good Zelda shit right here. Shik is in the building. Everybody is in the building. Sneaky, welcome back for 3 whole frickin' months. This has been waiting all day for the boy. Here we are. Are we here? Yes. Sorry, I like make up words in my head sometimes when I read them. But thank you, and welcome back. Speaking of which, and I'll be saying this throughout the thing, but members, I just got done recording, editing, and uploading the new members-only content, but I was in a bit of a hurry yesterday night, and I got it uploaded to Patreon on the $5 tier over there. So it's on Patreon, and then today I was spending most of the day with friends who were in town, and so I have yet to put it into video format to put it up on YouTube. So I will absolutely be jumping on that ASAP, but just so you know, there is be releasing soon for all members. Jacob Bowling with the 10 says, Joe, I have to tell you, I'm pretty happy tonight. Stephanie and I had our 3rd year wedding anniversary today. I love Stephanie with all my heart. Aw. Always so romantic, you two. 3rd year. That's a strong amount. Does that mean that you had, well, it's none of my business really, but I'm happy for you guys, and thank you so much for the 10. Where is Pradeep? He was. Oh, I see him. He's over there. He is within proximity. And David De La Rosa with the 1. Thank you, David. Thank you. Jacob with it says, Joel, you were one of my best friends in the world. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for the 2. And Justin Case with the 2 says, I'm just wondering what this week's videos are. Sometimes it's kind of by the pants of my ass, but at least right now, well, yeah, I got creepy neighbors crumbing at you quick. So I know that so far. Gotta love Joel's live streams uploads. Always great. Thank you, Asia. Appreciate that. And Lynn with the 2 says, can you and Pradeep be my roomies instead? I got butter. We just love butter. We love shoving it in our mouths, especially Pradeep. Just buries his face in it. Will I ever get a P.O. box? You want to send me drawings? You know, probably not. Just because you never know if those drawings may or may not have poop and human feces contained within the packaging. But if you do draw something, please do tag me on social media. I would love to see it. I always love people's fan art and all that good stuff. You knew I'd love this butter. Grandma with the 7 Canadian evening, Papa Joel and fellow chat. Hope everyone is having a great evening, day. Appropriate story titles. Currently dealing with a creepy neighbor. You are, Grandma. What in the world? Asia George with the 5. Can't ever get enough. Keep it up forever. Thank you. I shall do my best. I'm trying my hardest right now to live for a long time. Maybe forever. You don't know. Maybe one day we've got the genome thing figured out. We found out something about telomeres, and now all of a sudden all YouTubers get to just live into infinity. Would you guys do it? Would you live forever if given the chance? There's no going back, though.
Hey, listen.
Yeah, Grandma always comes through with the cookies. There's Hawk. What's up, Squawk? Squawk 1. And Fry 1. The Immortal King. Yeah, I'll be like Dune. What's the one guy, the God King of Dune? When he melds his body with one of like the sandworms. Jacob bowling with the 5 says Joe. I think Maribel Silva will be a good member of the Buttersock Cult Council. Are you nominating her? You know we have the elections coming up soon for the Buttersock Council. What was that, next Tuesday? This coming Tuesday? Constitutionally. So I believe we're going to be sticking through with that. So that definitely sounds like a nomination to me. Dude, never before seen 911 footage on my channel, the only vid. Oh. What? Oh. Yeah, don't go there, guys. No disrespect. That doesn't sound like a pleasant experience, to be honest. I thought you were gonna say something. Never mind. Put the world on fire. Just walking in from the grocery store. What did I miss? Oh man. Well, Maribel, Mr. Jacob Bowling just nominated you to be part of the Buttersock Cult Council. I don't know what you have to say about that. Are you ready? Are you going to start campaigning? Elections are next Tuesday. You guys want any cornbread? Thank you, Hitsubasa. With the $2 Lucinda, I'm sorry to hear that about your loss, but I'm glad we can be here for you.
Hey, listen.
Oh man, whatever. Was it nice as shit out for everybody else? It was fucking so warm here today. It was like in the 80s. It was legitimately like 80 degrees. I'm fairly certain that spring has sprung in my neck of the woods. I don't know about y'all. Jacob with the 5 says, I have nominated her for the Buttersock Cult Council. It's official. There's the nomination, Maribel. There's really no going back at this point. We'll see you in the elections. Nicholas, you love me. Thank you, thank you.
Hey, listen.
I'm like chicken soup for the soul. Chicken poop for the bowl. Binge your podcast on my 12-hour shifts. That's what I like to hear, Turner. Thank you, thank you. Which we got another podcast coming out this Tuesday. Stay tuned. Do the weather so bipolar, strobe light vibes as fuck. Strobe light? Oh, because of it like flashing back and forth. Do you like having ambient sounds or music in the background while you work? If so, what's your favorite ambient sound? Well, I mean, when you say work, I guess you mean like my narrations kind of thing. I mean, like whenever I would do other stuff, like when I would study in school and that kind of thing, or if I was like charting and all that kind of stuff back in the day, I definitely always liked having music, even though when I was working, I would get in trouble for having music on, which was always really fucking annoying because it's just like, it's not interfering with anything. But as of right now, like if, you know, you consider these streams work, you know, I definitely like, you know, I got the ambient background spooky sounds going, and it does kind of help me like zone in a little bit, you know. Keeps the voices at bay. Love your content, Joel. Can you do gaming rage stories? Someone loses in PvP and takes revenge. You know, I did do gaming stories. I believe, like online gaming stalkers or something of that nature. You would have to search it, but I believe you type like video games or gaming or something. It definitely exists on the channel going way back, and I believe there was some stuff related. And I think there was like one video that was like headed up by like a World of Warcraft stalker or something on like a Reddit video. What up, Ben? King of the Hill show was meh. Bro, King of the Hill was America's best anime. Don't be talking trash on King. What's up, Tiffany? So basically my next tat coming up is going to be Bobby Hill, but with Juggalo makeup on. That's amazing. I feel like I've seen that somewhere. But Dad, what the hell are magnets? Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, last stream I was not myself, but tonight I'm in a very good mood. Good to hear, Jacob. We were worried. We were all like, man, I hope Jacob feels better this next stream, and our prayers have been answered. Sounds like things are going well for you. And it's your anniversary. Your 3-year anniversary. With your beautiful wife, Stephanie, so...
Hey, listen.
That's fucking sick, dude. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I you know what's funny? King of the Hill, King of the Hill, like, I wasn't, like, a huge fan when I was younger, but I think I just kind of got on the King of the Hill hype train because it was... people brought it back up. I asked if there were any articles on the Campbell-Johnson feud. I have no idea, man. Good to see you, though, Drew. What's poppin'? You checked out the AMC chart lately? No. AMC chart. Let's take a peek. Is it crashing? Looks like it's crashing. I don't know. I gotta admit, I'm dependent on you and your vids to calm me down and keep my focus on. That's good, I'm glad. I mean, I've seen a lot of those types of comments. Oh yeah, sadly no meme account anymore. It was axed for some baloney bajoni. Jacob Bowling with the... Wait, I missed one. Lynn Ragsdale with the 2 says, I don't know you. That's my... I don't know you. That's my purse. Shisha, pocket sand. Yeah, a lot of classic ones out there.
Listen.
Joel is early. Yeah, slightly. Am I? I don't even know. Jacob with the 2 says, I was worried about Stephanie last stream. Well, it looks like things have worked out.
Hey, listen.
King of the Hill might be making a comeback. That would be amazing. I wonder what, you know, you know, looking back on the show, I mean, it was good, but it was sort of just like one of those ones where it was like more like subtle humor, you know what I mean? You didn't know Mr. Beast is a multi-millionaire? How could you not know that, dude? Every one of his fucking videos is him giving away like $2 trillion to someone who can hold their breath for an hour.
Hey, listen.
Stan with the 5 says, Joel, how you doing, dude? Missed your streams recently, so sorry about that. Life has been crazy. No worries, Stan. Thank you for the 5 and welcome back. Good to see you. I hope that crazy life has calmed down a bit. If you go unnoticed, you are in a rare position to do things right. When you do things right, nobody will be certain you have done anything at all. For sure. I'm such a legend. Thanks, Ben. A living legend. A living legend who wakes up every morning, takes a shit,
Listen.
takes a piss, eats an egg, and that's pretty much it. Hitsubasa with the 2 says, Hank reacting to and saying the word memes. Oh yeah, we're gonna hit that point. I wonder if they're gonna be like, it's gonna be like Rugrats all grown up. King of the Hill, all grown up. Ashley with 2 says, have you listened to Hank Trill? No, I haven't. What is this? Toilet sounds? God dang it. Joel was just listening to one of your paranormal videos. Ooh. Well, we got another 3 minutes here, friends. Thanks for being here again. Like I said, we got creepy neighbor stories. Appreciate y'all. Click like on the stream. Share this out on social media. Always appreciate it. Booze and Booze with the 5 says, here's the money for the feet pics. Thanks again. Hey, thank you. It's just a fair exchange, I'd say. What's poppin', my dude? How are you doing? How's the channel cruising? You should sign Mr. Nightmare to Chilling. Yeah, that's not my job, my friend. My voice is crack. My voice cracks once in a while. When I go through puberty. My name is Joel too. Please remember me from last time. Beefy Boss. What's up, fellow Joel? And there's another Joel. Joel Rockhard. That's a great name. I need that name. Maybe that is me. Maybe that's my alt account signing in. Imagine that. Imagine if I did something like that, pretending to be me here, but also like another account. That'd be crazy. Jacob Bowling with the 10 says, Joel, my brother, could you dedicate this stream to my lovely wife, Stephanie, because today is our 3rd year in marriage. So far, our marriage has been perfect. Jacob, absolutely, my friend. Abso-frickin-tootin'-lutely. Stephanie, this stream goes out to you. This stream is dedicated to you. This stream is for you. For 3 years of lovely, perfect. It was a perfect marriage. The best marriage. No other marriage is like it. Literally, no other marriage is like it. Very, very unique and beautiful marriage. Goes out to you guys. Congratulations on 3 years. 3 years. You know what? This goes out to 300 years more of marriage between Jacob and Stephanie Bowling. Let's go, baby. 300 years of marriage. That's a blessing. Ileana De La Rosa with the 2 says, hi, Joel. Glad I made it to your level. Welcome. We get the De La Rosa clan coming in. Yeah, that'll be my, if I don't know, I always talk about it, but whatever. If I ever do voice acting, that'll be my voice actor name, Joel Rockhard. that'd be really funny if that started like the new culture in voice acting is to have like a semi-porn star name. Hey yo, Joel, John talking here. It's been a little while since I popped in a stream, but I can't wait to hear these stories. Your voice is amazing as always and always puts me to sleep. Well, thank you, John. Good to see you. Appreciate it. Oh, we have reached the time to read, my friends. Let me switch over to our spooky screen and bump into these creepy neighbors. They're looking over our fence. I don't care. I'm not putting pants on. It's my house. It's my house. And pants aren't mandatory. They're not even encouraged. Wort. Is your real name is Rockhard? That's fucking amazing, dude. I'm actually jealous. Oh, wait. Yeah, I guess I couldn't take your name. That would be weird. I couldn't steal it from you. It's like stealing your identity. What kind of character would you want to voice if given the chance? Probably just somebody evil, like a bad guy. But honestly, I wouldn't mind. Honestly, any role would be sweet. You know? Just want to have fun. Just want to have fun with it. All right, let's kick it off. Who's ready for these Johns? I know I am. Me and my wife have been listening to your channel since last year, and we think we might have a story that would fit well with your channel. It's been a few years since we moved out of our starter home, but back when we first moved in, we had this real nice elderly widower for a neighbor. He was retired and mostly spent his time in his backyard tending to the flower beds his wife had left behind. We had a lovely view of it from our bedroom, and most days you'd be able to see him out there, preening and nourishing the plants and generally being the most wholesome person ever. But then this one day, my husband called me upstairs, and I found him staring out of the window over at our neighbor's backyard. I asked him what he was looking at, and he just pointed in silent confusion, so I walked over towards the window to take a look for myself. Our neighbor was standing right in the middle of this big, perfectly trimmed lawn, and he was just slamming a shovel into the grass over and over again, obviously intent on digging a pretty big hole. It was weird, but after some discussion, we decided that there was obviously some kind of method to his madness, so to speak. He was probably planning on installing a bird feeder or something else that would require digging a hole into the lawn. The next day, my husband calls me upstairs again. Only this time, he had this weird urgency in his voice. I go upstairs, figuring it had something to do with the neighbor's lawn, and when I look out of the window, I see something that sends a chill right through me. The hole that our neighbor was digging was considerably larger now, and it wasn't some round pit fit for a bird bath or squirrel feeder or something. It was clearly quite... Whoops. It was quite clearly a grave. You might be wondering how we knew that, how we could tell the difference between a grave and just any other kind of pit or trench that might have some perfectly normal purpose of function. But the big clue was the wooden cross our neighbor had stacked on the ground at one end. Almost immediately, my husband goes over to check if he's okay, and I had to wait like 5 or 10 minutes for him to come back. The moment he walks through the door, I ask him what was said, and he just sat down on the couch and began shaking his head, telling me he didn't know. I was so frustrated. I mean, how does he go over and just not ask about the grave that had been dug in the backyard? But my husband said that he didn't want to clue him into the fact that we'd basically been spying on him, and said that when push came to shove, he got really creeped out and just couldn't bring himself to ask. He said there was something different about our nice, friendly neighbor, that he didn't seem so nice and friendly anymore. He was normally all smiles and handshakes, full of small talk and compliments and the like. But that time he knocked on his door, my husband said that there was like a darkness about him, and it left him really, really unsettled. He reassured me by saying that we'd keep an eye on the whole thing, and if we suddenly saw him dragging a body into the grave or whatever, we'd just call the cops. This was on a Saturday morning, and the rest of the weekend my husband basically camped out in our bedroom, watching our neighbor's backyard for anything suspicious. It was a Sunday afternoon when he called me up into the bedroom again, and that time, we could see that our neighbor was quite clearly digging a second hole. You have to understand what a weird position this put us in. I mean, it's not illegal to dig holes in your backyard, and it wasn't like he'd taken the time to fill the first one. But if he really was planning on doing something hideous, we couldn't be the people to say that we watched him prepare for it and didn't do anything about it. In the end, I convinced my husband to call the cops, saying it was either him or me, so he called. I watched him make the call, and I watched him tell whoever was on the other end that he was concerned at our neighbor's behavior because he was clearly digging graves in his backyard. Like I said, he'd obviously yet to put anything inside of them, At least, we hadn't seen him put anything inside of them, but his behavior was obviously very, very creepy, so we thought we'd run it by the cops to see what they had to say. My husband is all like, yeah, okay, thanks for a few minutes. And when he hangs up, he tells me that they're sending a patrol car over so some cops could ask him a few questions. We didn't want to make it obvious that... My voice cracked. I'm going through puberty. Swook with the 2 says, hello, lovelies. Hope everyone's having a good night. Thank you, Swook. Good to see you. Thank you. He's creepy, but they nosy. This is true. You don't find any trouble if you don't go looking for it. You understand? Thank you so much for the love and support from the Buttersock. I love how we have our... So bad, I'm sure. Can I do a Korean voice? I don't think I even know... I don't think I've ever even heard... I mean, I guess I've seen Squid Game. But I don't listen to... Yeah, I don't really know what that would even sound like, to be honest. Hey, rat with a bat, what's crappin'? We didn't want to make it obvious that it was us that had called them, but we still wanted to know what our neighbor had to say about the whole thing. So when we saw the cops pulling up outside his house, we went down into our garage and listened in. One of the walls of our garage was maybe only a few feet away from our neighbor's front door, and if you opened up one of the windows, you could hear almost everything that was being said. So we do just that, and we listen as the cops tell the guy that they had a complaint about some strange behavior, and if they could head inside of our neighbor's house to take a look around. I don't even know what we were expecting here, but it definitely wasn't a really defiant sounding, "You guys got a warrant," coming from our normally friendly neighbor. We figured the cops might have one, but turns out we didn't know squat about the law and that it takes way longer to get one than just a simple phone call from some concerned neighbors. The cops ended up leaving, but as soon as they did, we basically ran back upstairs to see if our neighbor was going to do anything, like remove the wooden cross, fill the graves in. Oops. Remove the... Such a long sentence. Such a long sentence. Yeah, a grave for like pets that passed away. That's kind of like what I figured. Like they had dogs or something. I don't know if that's like what this is leading to or whatever. The cops ended up leaving, but as soon as they did, we basically ran back upstairs to see if our neighbor was going to do anything like remove the wooden cross, fill the graves in, or if he'd just carry on digging the second one out as if he wasn't bothered by the cops having knocked on his door. My husband was the first one to the window, but as soon as he looks out, he turns out again. Turns out again? My husband was the first one to the window, but as soon as he looks out, he turns around again, white as a sheet, and says, "He's looking at us." I couldn't resist. I know I should have just taken my husband's word for it and shouldn't have looked, but I just couldn't help myself. He was right. The guy was standing in his backyard right next to the graves, and he was looking up at our window with this angry look on his face. I tried to act as naturally as possible, feigning ignorance to the whole thing, so I just gave him a smile and a wave, then shut the curtains to make it look like we weren't staring. But I did make sure to leave a slight crack at the edge so we could peek out and keep an eye on the whole grave situation, because by that point, it had basically become our complete obsession. The next day, when we woke up for work, not only was there another wooden cross staked into the ground at the head of the second finished grave, but our neighbor was working on a third one. Then, by the time me and husband returned home from our respective jobs, our neighbor was working on a fourth. We couldn't keep our mind off how the whole thing was going to end, and the worst was... This man is smooth, this grave fellow. You tie with number 1, voice with Frank Mueller. He reads a lot of old Stephen King books along with Dark Tower books. Dark Tower Searcher. Thank you, my friend. That's a kind compliment. I appreciate that. I do be trying my best. Oh, we're at 444 viewers. Welcome, welcome. We couldn't keep our mind off the whole thing. Sorry, I got distracted. We couldn't keep our mind off how the... Jesus Christ, sorry. We couldn't keep our mind off how the whole thing was going to end, and the worst thing is when we got into our heads that the guy was planning on filling the third and fourth graves with us, since he'd somehow evidently gotten a pretty good idea of who had called the cops on him. We called the cops again that evening and told them that we were seriously worried about what our neighbor was up to. And when our call was forwarded to the relevant officer, we were assured that they were in the process of getting a search warrant and that they'd revisit the guy's house the moment that it was signed by a judge. The thing was, we just didn't think that we could wait that long, and I know for a fact that some pretty awful things have happened while people have been waiting for a search warrant to be signed. It was my husband that suggested the cops get in touch with a relative of our neighbor, if they had any on record, and asked them to knock on his door to check on them before it was too late. Thankfully, we think that's exactly what happened because after about a week of complete inactivity from our neighbor, my husband managed to catch a younger-looking guy walking up to the guy's house with a set of keys. Oops. When did you find out your voice could get so deep? I don't know, honestly. Like, if you go back to my older videos on YouTube, I almost think I've just kind of been like honing the style for so long, like trying to find my rhythm, because you'll notice like when my first videos, I released those, I kind of sounded like this, reading Let's Read, and I talk like this at the very front of my mouth and the top of my vocal cords, almost as if though I was on NPR and it was very buzz, 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 buzz. But then as I started doing creepypasta and stuff, I would talk like this, down at the bottom, very deep. We think that's exactly what but like too slow, you know what I mean? And then I kind of just found a little bit of like an in-between that was more natural, but also kind of bass, like deepy, you know? How old is this man? Just a timeless gentleman, I'd say, with me top hat and me monocle. Oh shit, never mind, I'm 31, yeah. Gonna try to sleep, get some sleep, sleep tight. David Lynch's Severed Ear, I can't listen to the older stuff for that reason. Your voice is your brand now. Oh, thank you, David. I appreciate it. Jill should be on NPR for sure. Perhaps, perhaps. Which voice for our wedding vows? Thank you so much for letting me marry you. I appreciate that a lot. Let's read Don't Stop. I don't hear mistakes. Anyway, don't be perfect. It's hard to be perfect. Well, the reason I'm stopping is because I'm recording onto another microphone, so I have to start and stop so I can edit it together later. I sound younger. Yeah, maybe. You started listening in 2015. Sheesh, that's going back. That's some OG shit right there. Isn't it weird? I've been on YouTube probably too long. Would I ever lie about my age? No, I don't really see any point, honestly. I don't really like the idea of lying in general. It just seems kind of a waste. You should read fairy tales and make them creepy. Dude, yeah, fairy tales at their base level are creepy as fuck. Those like old ones. What is it, like the Brothers Grimm? You get to hear the Joker while you're sleeping. Good night, y'all. Good night. Bubbles' voice? Yeah, what does Bubbles sound like? Oh, yes. I don't fucking know.
Mischievous
Aaron Wilson with the 2 said, just realized the skeleton's chilling on the couch. Yeah, just a floating couch. And it's got a TV next to him. How sweet is that? with bubbles coming out of it. Thank you for the 2. And Jessica Shonk, welcome back for half a year to the Buttersock Cult. Hello, Joel. Hello, chat. How's everyone doing? We're doing good. Also, Jessica and anybody with a green name, I will be releasing I finished recording. The members-only content is over on Patreon on the $5 tier, but I just didn't have time to get it into a video and upload it to YouTube, but that will be uploaded soon. I promise to keep you posted on social media at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter, and then also I'll tell you next stream, in case you forget. But yeah, so that playlist will be uploaded or updated soon. What's my favorite book? I don't know. I don't read enough to really appreciate books that much, like to a really strong sense. I mean, there are a lot of like audiobooks I listen to, but none of them, like I'll listen to them and none of them really like stick out with me that much. Is YouTube my full-time job? It is, yeah. I do YouTube. I run the podcast, all that kind of stuff. It's my shabam. Oh my god, if Joel doing voices, I want to hear his voice as Heisenberg from Resident Evil 8. Basically just do a Nick Cage impression. Heisenberg. I'll have to listen to that. Remind me after the story's done. I'll listen to it and see if I can do it. The one guy, well, not one guy, but Unit 522, on his channel, I did a reenactment of the opening for Resident Evil 1, like the opening like cinematic dialogue, and he like, it turned out really well, so I was pretty proud of that. That was a lot of fun. Whitney Williams, welcome back for 7 months. Being a mischievous dog says, I always say this, but I love you, Joel. Love being a member of and Patreon. Been listening since like 2018. Can't live without your uploads and lives. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Do a lazy masquerade impression. I will certainly do my best if I can. Almost sounds like Hannibal Lecter though when I do it. But I love Lazy. Lazy is my beloved. No, but I do really like Lazy, and his content is amazing. You have so much cat hair in your mouth. What the hell did you do? You picked it up by the scruff and relocated it like a mama cat? Oh yeah, there's 2 Hannahs in the chat. We're gonna have a Hannah fight. Or you'll just like Dragon Ball Z combined yourself. A Mr. Nightmare impression. This was a story I did when I was... I don't really think I can, because like his voice isn't like necessarily wildly distinct. It's like just kind of a it's just kind of a voice. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think. Maybe I could do it. Like it's just kind of like just a man in his blue Yeti. You know what I mean? And I don't think I can really it's like more difficult to replicate someone's like very, very natural voice. My voice is healing your hangover. Good, good. Be sure to drink some pickle juice. Okay, thankfully that's a complete Thankfully, we think that's exactly what happened because after about a week of complete inactivity from our neighbor, my husband managed to catch a younger-looking person walking up to the guy's house with a set of keys in her hand. He asked if she knew anything about the guy who lived there, and she said yes, that it was her father's place, and he'd not been feeling too well recently, so he'd gone to stay with them for a while. She was just there picking up some of his clothes and stuff to take back to her place. We don't think she knew the extent of our knowledge of the situation, but my husband said she looked tired, really tired, so I figured whatever she knew about her father's state of mind had really taken it out of her. About a month later, there was a for sale sign up on the front lawn, and a full moving crew had showed up outside, boxing up the old guy's things before loading them into the back of the van. Then, a few days later, a landscaping crew came by and started filling in and patching over the graves. Let me tell you, they looked just as creeped out as we were. After that, we didn't hear anything else about it, and I understand why my husband didn't want to press the young woman for answers, since it already seemed like she was at a breaking point. Some people say it must have kind of been a big sad. Some people say it must have been kind of a sad, what the fuck? It must have been kind of sad. There we go. What kind of peanut butter whiskey? Oh fuck, I forget what it was actually called. I think I still have like last year's. No, I don't. Do I? No, I don't. But I forget what the brand is called. Maybe you guys remember. Maybe somebody remembers. It's the one with like a goat. There's like a picture of like a goat on it. I believe. I forget. Big sad. Some people say it must have been kind of sad seeing an older guy losing his mind like that, but I'm not sure he was losing his mind, not in the way that people think. He seemed lucid as could be when talking to the cops, the way he just figured out who called them. He seemed lucid as could be when talking to the cops, the way he just figured out who. I see. He seemed lucid as could be when talking to the cops, the way he just figured out who called them, or at least took a really good guess. That doesn't suggest a failing mind to me. All in all, it made for one of the creepiest, most unsettling experiences in my entire life, and one I'll certainly never forget. We figured you might enjoy a feature. What the fuck? Sorry, sometimes people end their stories with like a lot of like unnecessary text. We figured out you might like a feature or story in one of your videos if you're ever short content. We know it's probably not the scariest, most frightening story you've ever heard sent, but after listening to your channel for quite a while, we just had to try and contribute in some way, even if that is kind of an anticlimactic story like this one. Thanks for all the videos you put out, and your voice really helps me and my husband get to sleep on time to be fresh for work in the morning. Please keep it up. Lord knows we appreciate you from... Okay. I'll just end it on the never forget part. Jacob with a 5 says, Joe, I asked my wife Stephanie today, what is her dream? She answered, my dream is to have twins. Maybe I can make that dream come true one day. Jacob, I certainly hope. Though I probably should stay focused on the one that's still in the womb right now, and, you know, we'll think about that later. Remember on my birthday when I got wasted? Was I wasted? I don't think I was that bad. I was only like 20 shots deep. It's not a big deal. JK, do not do that. He seemed lucid. Fuck. He seemed lucid as could be when he was talking to the cops. The way he just figured out who called them, or at least took a really good guess. That doesn't suggest a failing mind to me. All in all, it made for one of the creepiest, most unsettling experiences in my entire life. One I'll certainly never forget. And I'll always wonder, what was her... Fuck. And I'll always wonder, what were his intentions for those graves? Joel the alcoholic. Just one day a year, just one day a year. Did Joel get chocolate wasted? Chocolate. Chocolade. Just peanut butter wasted. Joel, you were flaming Michael alive about zodiac signs. I feel like that's my baseline anyways, so... It's fine. It's totally fine. It's fine. I can drive this monster truck. Give me your monster truck keys. Give me your fucking monster truck. Joel, I don't drive a monster truck. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you have a fucking monster truck. I've seen it. Asia George with the 5s. Number 15, Burger King foot fetish. Have you ever had a foot fetish? Well, if you have, hopefully it wasn't a Burger King and here at Joel's place. Nice. Joel, you're just like my mom, except you're only wasted for only one day. Yeah, we're just like flip-flopped, you know? Is my name Joel? It is, yeah. I cannot imagine having 2 kids at 2 separate times, let alone at once. That's insane for me. Regretfully, twins run in my family on my mom's side, and I'm terrified. Yeah, I can only imagine, like, you see those people just have, like, triplets, and it just looks like, I don't even know, they look like a hive queen from an ant colony. But in, like, a good way, in, like, a beautiful, vibrant way. Jacob with the 5 says, I don't know if I want any more children after Jolene is born. Yeah, maybe you have that conversation, and, you know, it's totally fine. Totally a valid thing to think about, especially when you already have your other one. Sandra with the 2 says, just a quick thank you for doing what you be doing. Oh, thank you, Sandra. I appreciate it. June 4th. Yeah, that's coming up, isn't it? We got like another month. And Vixa, you're one of 2 sets of twins in your family. That's awesome. Are you an identical twin, or a fraternal twin, or a sorority twin, or like Twin Peaks? You're a quintuplet? No fucking way. I don't believe that for a second. That's crazy. Your B-Day's on June 6th. Nice. D-Day, baby. Never forget. My mother-in-law had 5 boys back to back. I don't know how she did it. I only have 2, and it's a constant episode of Jackass. That's funny. Who's gonna buy me my first big boy beer on the 21st? You will get 1 Dasani water, and that is it. They used to call you the Hive Queen in high school. Did you have like quintuplets in high school? Oh, because you were part of quintuplet? Or I don't even know whose comment I'm reading at this point. Your birthday's June 9th. Your birthday's June 3rd. Hell yeah, June babies. What's crappin'? Why do I keep saying that? What's crappin'? Let's read a Gemini? A Gemini? A Jedi? Can't sleep without watching your videos. Thank you. Sleep is very important. You gotta get your 6 to 8 hours, and sometimes 9, and sometimes 10, and sometimes literally all fucking day. Nothing wrong with May babies? Certainly not. I think I was supposed to be born in May, but I was late. As usual. Animation channel steal your audio. Which animation channel? There's one that, like Martin Animations and I think Broccoli Animations, that I'm okay with them using, but I try to tell them to use like just 2 stories per video, but some of them be using too many fucking stories. Joel stayed in the womb. I do. I just stayed in there. I just chilled. I was like, God damn, it's warm in here. I'm like literally like inside a submarine. Yeah, I'm still in the womb. I'm streaming from the womb. You're gonna be 33 tomorrow. Hell yeah. Happy early birthday. David De La Rosa with the 5 says, Joy, I got to meet Stephen Ogg, aka Trevor from GTA 5. He is awesome. That's sick. Yeah, Stephen Ogg is fucking awesome, dude. What's that one video where he like walks up to the camera and he's like, fuck you! I don't even know. I haven't seen him in much since then. I think he was in Breaking Bad or something like that. But I hope he, you know, fill me in on what else he's been in, but I think he's awesome. Jacob Bowling with the 5 says, Stephanie gave birth to our son Brandon 2 years ago. August 31st, Jolene will be born, but maybe I will make her dream of having twins become reality. Oh, I thought Brandon was 4 years old. My bad. That's why I was confused. I was like, oh, did you have it before you were, or have him before you were married? For some reason, I thought Brandon was 4 years old. What you're saying is that you're a man that was... Hawk.
Listen.
N64 Monday or nah? Wait, what about N64? I would love to play some N64. I miss freaking Kirby and the Crystal Shard. I want to play the new Kirby game. We used to have this neighbor back when I was 15, and I didn't find this out until years later, but he basically was the sole reason we ended up moving out of the house we were living in at the time. So the way my dad tells it, it all started when the guy started making something in the shed in his backyard. Obviously, he was entitled to do whatever he wanted on his property, especially during the daylight hours, but my dad said all the sawing and hammering noises were a real pain in the butt. He figured it'd only be a couple of days, but a week went by and the guy was still making all this noise in the evenings and on weekends. It went on late into the night on a bunch of different occasions, and my dad had to go over and threaten to call the cops to get him to knock it off. Seems a little extreme, I know, but Dad had already tried asking nicely, and the guy was just a total jerk, so it was the only thing that seemed to work. After that, the guy kept the sawing and hammering to reasonable hours, still a pain apparently, but nothing he didn't have the right to. But then, my dad looks over the fence one day and sees the guy carrying a whole bunch of chains into the shed, and the next thing he knows, the guy is carrying all these Manacle? Vixa with the 5s. Had a rough day today, and your streams always cheer me up. Love the community of your videos. Thank you, Vixa. It's always good to see you. Thank you, thank you. Wait, I'm confused. What is this term here? The guy is carrying all these manacle-looking things, and is that a word, manacle, or was that like a fucking a device for confining the hands, usually consisting of a set of 2 metal rings? Oh. I see. Like handcuffs. Javaris, what's happening, my friend? Believes in unicorns with 5 says, what are you doing for our B-Day? Love when it falls on a Saturday. Is that when it is? Let's look. Wait. Oh, it is a Saturday. Maybe that's when I'll stream then. Maybe I'll stream on my B-Day. Ever watch Meat Canyon? I do, yeah. Meat Canyon is dabomb.com. Jacob with the 5 says, when Stephanie and I got married, I said a vow to her, and I said that I will love her till death do part. Hell yeah, brother. That's what I like to hear. I like a devoted man to their spousal. Absolutely love your voice and listen to you when I was winding down, getting ready for bed, man. And man, I'd love to have it, if you're ever lucky enough to have the honors to have one of my short stories narrated. Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. Oh, which reminds me, if you guys have stories, please submit them as usual to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial and let's read submissions@gmail.com. When Joel dines at a restaurant, he gives the waiter the bill at the end of the night. I do. This is for my service. You're welcome. You have to read on birthday again. Yeah. Daddy is home push-ups. Oh yeah, remind me after this story. We'll bump them out. I think we're up to 31 push-ups. Holy fuck. I hope I don't get shit on. You're starting to know everything about this man. You didn't ask for this. Yeah. That's a little TMI, huh? Wait, me or... Yeah, either way. Everything here is just fantasy. But then, my dad looks over the fence one day and sees the guy carrying a whole bunch of chains into the shed. The one thing that... What the fuck? Then, the next thing he knows, the guy is carrying all of these sort of handcuff-looking things in the shed, the kind you use to keep a person prisoner. Wait, oh, shackles. Shackles would probably be like a better fucking word. I don't know why, yeah. But then, my dad looks over the fence one day and sees the guy carrying a whole bunch of chains into the shed. Then the next thing he knows, the guy is carrying all these shackle-looking things into the shed, the kind you use to keep a person prisoner. Dad asks what he's building in there, but the guy is all, "Mind your business, mister," saying things like that. My dad is starting to get pretty nervous about the whole thing, and he's close to calling the cops because it was obviously looking incredibly shady, and maybe it'll get the guy to stop hammering and sawing all freaking day too. But still, he holds off for one night too long, and that's when he hears a scream coming from the guy's backyard. He says it was one of those screams of the blood-curdling variety, and he goes out to listen, then hears a few more muffled sounds coming from the shed where the guy was building. Whatever it was he was building... Fucking Jesus Christ. Whatever it was he was building. Sorry, it's like some of the sentences go on for like a year and a half. He says it was one of those screams of the blood-curdling variety, and he goes outside to listen. Then he was... penis. Then hears a few more muffled sounds coming from the shed where the guy was building, whatever it was he was building in there. He tries looking over the fence to get an idea of what's going on, and sees our neighbor walking. Fuck, let me just gargle real quick. My fucking throat. Fuck. Have I seen The Call? Is that a movie? I did just watch Uncut Gems. Have you guys seen Uncut Gems? You love the gargle. I do be trying to. The gargoyle. But yeah, Uncut Gems was really, really interesting. It was a very like it was a very, I don't know, just an interesting sort of movie, like just constantly chaotic, constantly moving. Like the film style almost just seemed like it was almost like The Office like style documentary, you know, where it was just these random close-ups from all over the place. But it was just like, yeah, very, very stressful movie, just constantly from one thing to the next. And it really does divert your attention to one thing and sort of usurp your expectations, which I really enjoy. I like when like at the end, not to spoil it for anybody. I mean, I could spoil it and talk more about it if you guys don't care, because it's been out for a while, but was I his muse in Uncut Gems? Yeah, I told him to bet on Kevin Garnett. It's so funny, like like the fact that they like casted. I mean, Kevin Garnett actually, he did really well, like acting wise. I just thought it was so funny. He was so obsessed with some random rock from Ethiopia. Why does YouTube wait forever to put out cool channels like this? New subscriber. Oh, do you mean like suggested videos or stuff like that, or I don't know. I think in like the concept of overall on YouTube, I'll forever just be kind of like right at this sort of like mid-range level as far as like, unless I blow up on TikTok, which I don't know how to do that. I got to do something with Reddit stories and shit. Oh yeah, KG in the fucking Weekend. Yeah, wasn't that sweet? Like the Weekend was in it, and I felt like it accurately represented like both like. It accurately represented like everything I felt like in that movie. You know, the Weeknd was doing drugs, getting horny, whatever. You know, that's kind of like what you'd expect. I have a very nice vocabulary. Oh, thank you, thank you. But yeah, if you guys haven't seen Uncut Gems, it was like, yeah, the end. Well, I don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. I'm not gonna spoil it. Lil Lamb, listen to the stream. Let's go, Lil Lamb. Give me some meow meows. Jesus Christ. He says it was one of those screams of the blood-curdling variety, and he goes outside to listen, then hears a few more muffled sounds coming from the shed where the guy was building, whatever it was he was building in there. He tries looking over the fence to get an idea of what's going on and sees our neighbor walking out to the shed, covered in blood, with something sharp and shiny in his hand. But just before he closes the door, Dad said he caught a glimpse of someone strapped onto some kind of big wooden board. That was it. My dad runs back inside, calls the cops, and tells them something messed up is happening in our neighbor's backyard, how he has been building some kind of torture device or whatever, and how he thought he was in the process of basically murdering someone in there. The cops show up, but they don't make it into the backyard. They just drive off after talking to the guy. My dad calls the cops back and asks them what they're thinking, and they need to get into that shed right away because something unspeakable is happening in there. They tell them that they can't get into the guy's place without a warrant, that the guy had a bandaged hand and claimed the blood was because he had an accident. The cops seemed happy enough with that explanation and had gone back to their precinct. But they were in the process of getting a warrant because of my dad's claim that he'd seen a body in there, and because of how urgent it was, it might only be a few hours before they could get one signed by a judge. Then boom. The next day, the cops show back up at the guy's house at like 6 a.m., and it wakes my dad up because they were literally sawing a lock off the door to the shed. He watches all freaking morning, and get this, they carry out the body he'd seen in that shed. Only it wasn't a body. It was like one of those mannequin type things, and it had blood all over it. The guy has actually been building some kind of torture table in his shed, only he hadn't actually done anything to anyone, so the guy ended up getting a full apology from the county after they didn't find anything to arrest him over. But still, my dad's not happy knowing he lives next to someone who'd build something like that, and after arguing back and forth with the cops about the guy's right to build some sort of weird torture table, he ends up just being like, screw this, we're moving. He didn't say anything to us at the time because obviously me and my sister were still young and he didn't want anything like that in our heads. But after I'd moved out and my sister had graduated college, he ended up telling us at a little reunion dinner. As you can guess, our jaws were just on the floor. Organic blueberries, hell yeah. As you can guess, our jaws were on the floor when he was telling us, as we had no idea he was anything but some annoying home improvements nerd. It came up because we were complaining about having to move schools at that age, as me and my sister both lost a bunch of good friends and it sucked having to start at a new... It came up because we were complaining about having to move schools at that age, as me and my sister both lost a bunch of good friends and it sucked having to start at a new school right when I just started at a new one there. He figured the whole thing would be justified to us why we had to move, and honestly, I get it. I wouldn't want to live next to a freak like that, either. Gotta let your cat type. Just let them say their piece. How many of these stories do I think are real? Yeah, like I say, I have no idea, honestly. Like, some of them you can kind of, like, suss out and be like, huh, a little weird, but I don't know. Like I said, people send them in, and I'm just kind of going along, rolling with y'all the same way. You have a demented Bob Villa living next door. Who's Bob Villa? Are goats born organic? Yep, everything about them, including their milkies. Milkies. Let's see. Oh, time for push-ups. Ah, fuck. All right. Yeah, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm like curious if I can make it to without breaking them up. But I will do my best. Who's going to do them with me? Whatever exercise you did previously, do one more rep of that from last time. You know the drill. Join in if you know this song. Kicked her cat out of the room. She lost bed privileges after she kicked me in the eye at 3 a.m. after bouncing off me in the walls. My God. Yeah. Pradeep's actually gotten pretty good about, like, laying down and not, like, trying to wake me up. So, pretty baller. Okay, 30 fucking 1, right? Is that where we're at right now for push-ups? You going to the gym tonight? Hell yes, be a good warm-up for you. You'll be a cheerleader. Thank you. Go, 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 go. Do those pushy-up-y-os. Do goats squawk? Yeah, they do. Okay. Now, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Here we go, gentlemen and ladies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Fuck. Fucking shit. Okay. Bro. I'm like starting to hit a cap, but hey yo, no cap? I think I've hit a cap. Holy fuck. Okay. What warrants push-ups? Bro. Daddy's home. You know the sitch. Football radio with the 9 says, hey Joel, it's Sarah from England. I'm totally blind and about to start work, but noticed you were live, so I had to listen. Well, thank you. I just had to do 31 push-ups. So that's why I'm out of breath. And fuck, that was tough. But thank you for the 9 and good luck at work. Want some coconut cream pie? Yeah, that sounds amazing. You got Jacob, you didn't make it through, that's okay. You can break them up. Or you can split them with Stephanie. Oh my God. Your ears are getting stronger as we speak, but just listening, this is true. Here, let me scream into the mic. Ah! JK. Oh my God, that was so cool. That was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. But now I'm out of breath. You got 20? Hell yeah. Fuck. Okay. I gotta have a plan for next time. Because I think I can get 32, but I'm just thinking like 40? Can I do 40? I'm just wondering, like, if I fail, what happens when I fail? Am I gonna get spanked, or what's the deal? You just did them with me. I have to wait to catch my breath to type. Why does it feel like I haven't used my arms in forever? Yeah, it feels good to wake up. Welcome to my hell. Okay. My goddamn breath is around here somewhere. I just gotta catch it. Back when I was in 7th grade, my family had this guy move in next door to us. He seemed like a nice guy, and no one had anything but nice things to say about him, but I always thought that there was something off about him. I don't know if it was the way he looked at me or the way he talked to me, but I just got this gut feeling that he was too good to be true. For example, he'd sometimes walk past our house when I was shooting hoops in our driveway and ask me how life was. Then whatever I'd say, he'd claim to be an expert on it or have something super relevant and cool to show me in his house. Like he once claimed to have a ball signed by Karl Malone in his garage that was just gathering dust, saying I could have it if I went over to collect it sometime. I mean, a ball like that could have fetched thousands if he'd only tried to sell it, but there he was, offering it to me for free. So, like I said, I just found him really suspicious, and I didn't buy the hype that he was this super wholesome guy. Anyway, this one day my mom and dad were at our Dude, I'm still out of fucking breath. I feel like it's... Does it sound weird when I'm reading? Like, the breaths are too fucking strong. We in the council will determine what happens if you fail. Oh, God. Well, the council elections haven't even happened yet, so... It's just me and Jacob, okay? Right now. Currently. But... because we live in a skriskrockerscree, what? Those... Yes, I'm having a stroke. Okay. Ugh. The breath of the wild. That's what this is. Anyway, this one day my mom and dad were at our grocery store shopping, and they charged my older sister with babysitting me. I was doing my usual thing of just playing basketball out front when our neighbor comes over and says he was having what he called a red, white, and blue garage sale. Little side note, my mom and dad are super patriotic, like annoyingly so. Don't get me wrong, I love this country too, but my parents are both ex-military and dad was still serving at the time, and they took their patriotism to like hypersonic levels, if you know what I mean. Almost everything in our house had a flag on it, or was either red, white, blue, or a combination of all three. Our neighbor knew this. He'd been in our house before, so when he stopped by to tell me about this garage sale, he sold it to me that I could earn some brownie points by buying my mom something she'd like. Now, I really did need to curry a little bit of favor with my parents, as my grades hadn't been all that great at the time, but as much as I wanted to win back some affection, I had a bad feeling about going over to his house alone. So, I told him I needed to head upstairs to grab some of my piggy bank money before heading over to his place, which in fact bought me some time to head over to our other neighbor's place to ask him to accompany me over to the suspicious guy's place to check on his sale. It took some convincing, but then as soon as I mentioned the fact that the guy was always trying to get me over to his place, our other neighbor suddenly seemed more than happy to miss a few minutes of his basketball game in order to chaperone me. But then when we got there, I felt like an idiot. Not only was the guy actually having a red, white, and blue garage sale, with all the flag-themed stuff laid out on the tables, but there was a golden eagle and stars and stripes coffee cup that my mom turned out to adore. After that, I decided to cut the guy some slack, and thankfully, he stopped pestering me to go over to his place, so it was kind of a win-win, I suppose. Now cut to like 2 years later, and I'm walking up the block after getting off the bus from middle school, when I see a bunch of people standing on their porches, looking out towards our neighbor's place. And what do I see outside of his house? 2 cop cars, and I chilled outside long enough to see them leading him out in cuffs. It took us a few days to get news of what he'd been arrested for, but when it finally appeared in the local paper, I actually felt sick to my stomach. The guy had been arrested for luring. Who has a piggy bank? A little kid, you know? Which I think this story is from the perspective of like a little kid. Grandma with a 7 Canadian maple syrup dollars says, "Night, everyone. Have a good one. Papa Joel, don't forget to hydrate." Good idea. I should do that right now. Thank you, Grandma, and peace out. Girl Scout cookies. Fractured my pointer, middle, and ring finger on my right hand 2 weeks ago after trying to move an entertainment center and have been down in the dumps, but your lives have kept a smile. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Breaking your fingers and toes is like the worst thing because they can't really do a whole lot for them. How's Pradeep doing? He is not... He's not locally here right now. I think he's elsewhere. The guy had been arrested for... that sounded too cheery. The guy had been arrested for luring one of the younger neighborhood kids into his house before showing the kids something that no child of that age should ever see from a grown man. The cops seized the guy's computer, found a whole bunch of illegal stuff on there. I'm guessing you can figure out which kind, too. And for all that, he ended up going to prison for a long, long time. I'm also pretty sure just from the name of the basketball player I dropped, you can guess which state I'm from, but I don't want to actually give away the guy's name because he has kids that I'm pretty sure still use the family name, unlike his wife, we know. Unlike his wife, who we know divorced him not long after he was charged. The real horrible thing, and I know this might sound a little self-centered of me, because obviously there was an actual victim here that wasn't me, but it sure could have been me if I'd have gone over to that red, white, and blue sale alone. If I'd have been slightly more naive or trusting of the guy, if I'd have bought his nice guy act, God knows what would have happened to me that day. Quit yawning. I can't help it. I'm lay tired. Okay. It is time for you to lift. Good luck. Get swoly woly woly. Last night there was weeping and wailing from next door's driveway. Never did understand what happened. Yikes. More push-ups. I'm good. I lived on a street that had a huge raccoon problem for a little while. Not giant raccoons, just a lot of them. I think maybe 1 or 2 got into some garage at some point, and then the next thing we know, the whole family is there. Then the extended family, then all their friends. It was a complete free-for-all at night with them chittering and fighting among themselves. Got to the point where someone volunteered to call an exterminator who showed up, which a bunch of baited Got to the point where some volunteered to call an exterminator who showed up with a bunch of baited traps that he put in all our backyards. Except this one guy, our neighbor, who according to him, didn't need them. Then get this, after the traps got laid down, the raccoon problem goes away. The exterminator comes back expecting to be able to claim all the credit, only none of the bait in his traps are gone. He's incredibly confused by this, since he figured it was his poison that had stopped the raccoons from coming back. But since he hadn't lost any of his product, he's a real nice guy and only charged about 25% of his original asking price, just enough to cover his time and the trap rental. just enough to cover his time in the trap rental. About a week goes by and everyone is happy that the peace and quiet has returned at night. But then over at our house, we start smelling this really gross smell in our backyard. I remember looking everywhere for any signs of dead raccoons since I figured that was the smell. Maybe one of them took a little nibble of the poison bait, keeled over, and then his brothers and sisters picked up sticks and moved on. But then after a whole afternoon of searching, I can't find anything. It smelled like it was coming from the back left of our yard, over near some rose. It smelled like it was coming from the back left of our yard, over near some rose bushes my wife was trying to grow, but I couldn't find a freaking thing. Now you gotta know that our backyards had this big old high fences. Son of a bee. Now, you gotta know that our backyards had these big old high fences, like big privacy fences that you couldn't look over without a ladder or something. I figured the smell might actually be coming from our neighbor's backyard, so I knock over to check if it wasn't them who had a dead raccoon in their backyard, but no one was home. So then, being the good neighbor that I was, I get my ladder from the garage, prop it against the fence, then peep my head over to check for them. What I saw when I did, that was seriously one of the most disturbing, insanely cruel things I'd ever seen in my life. Hung up in our neighbor's backyard was a laundry line, but it wasn't clothes hanging from it. It was dead raccoons. There were maybe 6 or 7 of all the things, and it wasn't the fact that they were dead which really got me. It was how badly mutilated they were. I'll spare you some of the grislier details here, but each one of them was in a different state of dismemberment, and it was absolutely horrific. It was no wonder that the raccoons didn't come around anymore, not after seeing their relatives in such a state. I didn't want the cops on the... I didn't want to call the cops on the guy. I'm not really that kind of person, and since I figured raccoons are basically a kind of pest, the cops wouldn't do anything about it if he was dealing with vermin on his own property. I just waited until the wife of the guy got home, then caught her in the driveway before really politely telling and asking her to just take it down. If they didn't, I'd just take pictures and see what the local animal rights organizations had to say about it. It was a pure bluff that worked on my part, but I figured she wouldn't like the idea of a gang of hippies picketing their home. She obviously didn't, because by that evening, the line of dead raccoons was gone and the bad air was starting to clear a little. It definitely caused some animosity between our families, though, because the guy knocked on our door over the next day to tell me if I ever threatened his wife again, he'd beat me silly in the street, so everyone could see. Threaten. Can you believe that? She must have told him a very different story, because I swear, I kept myself as civil as possible, even though I did want to call them a bunch of monsters. There was no love lost when they moved out the following year, and then we got along much better. There was no love lost when they moved out the following year, and we got along much better with the neighbors we have now. Oh man, the chat keeps devolving. Yeah, I don't even know. I can't keep up with the chat half the time. There's no way to control it. It's absolute fucking anarchy! But yeah, I also had Pepsi Nitro today, which is like, I don't know, instead of carbon... What is it? Carbon dioxide? Or just like, instead of being carbonated, I guess you could say. It was filled with nitrogen. And, you know, they have it in beers and stuff, and they say it's pretty smooth. And I think I've had a nitrogen beer before. But this was interesting, because when you open it up, it kind of scared me, because it was like makes a bunch of, like, fucking jump scare noises. And I tasted it. It was like the vanilla version of it or whatever. And honestly, it just kind of like has this sort of flat nature to it. Like when you sip it, it just sort of tastes flat, I guess you could say. Um, it's almost just like there's so many bubbles that it's almost like you could say it's smoother, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's better than like other versions of soda. I guess you don't burp as much. I guess I did notice that, but not necessarily my favorite. Kind of underwhelming. Heather with the 1. Thank you, Heather.
Hey, listen.
Did you watch the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial? No, I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you. I mean, I do think it's like messed up when people lie about each other to get them in trouble, and defamation and all that kind of stuff is beyond fucked up. But anything related to celebrities, I just could give 2 fucks less, really. You've had a nitro cold brew from Starbucks that was not cool at all, very disappointing. Interesting. It's totally smoother, but like, where's the spice? Right. I guess, yeah. I mean, it to me, it literally just tastes flat. Like, because, you know, that's kind of how flat sodas, you know, you open them up and it just doesn't, it just sort of tastes like liquid. You're supposed to pour it in a glass. Oh, maybe I fucked up. A nice chilled mug. Yeah, what happens when you pour it in a glass? Does it just, my videos slap harder than Will Smith. Good, good. Amber Heard needs to go down for her manipulation trying to use DV to her advantage while lying about it, though. It takes away from real DV, either gender. Yeah, for sure. Maybe this will set some sort of precedent there, at least culturally, because that shit's fucking messed up. The Pepsi's supposed to be poured in a glass fast. Oh, fast? For fizziness? Why would you pour... If there's like extra steps to enjoying a soda, I feel like that's kind of inconvenient. Oh, hold on, you gotta shake it up first and spray it in your grandma's face and then you can taste it. It should be fine. Nitro bubbles downwards in the glass. So you don't pour it against the edge, you just dump it directly into it. It's basically carbonates the Pepsi if you pour it in a glass. Oh. So it like recarbonates it? Does it taste any different at that point? Is it just like, it's almost like they want you to do the work for them. Just gotta shake it up. I have an apartment here in Hell's Kitchen, and the bathroom window looks right across the alley below and faces a window of the apartment building adjacent to ours. Back when I first moved in, there was this seriously creepy guy living there who creeped me out beyond belief. At first, he used the room by my bathroom. My bathroom faced for storage, but in like a just throw everything I don't need into a huge pile kind of way. God, why does my voice crack at all? I don't understand. How was my day? It was good. I hung out with friends. It was fucking beautiful out. He goes to court as a pirate. That would be funny. 7-Eleven horror story video? Potentially. I don't even know. Are there? I don't think I have any 7-Elevens around here. So, guess nobody's sending me any local stories. Taco Bell drinks look like straight poison. Which ones? Like Baja Blast? If you were to blind taste test Pepsi and Coca-Cola, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's been proven. You've been proven to be wrong. Because my fucking taste buds are goddamn refined. I would know. I would know. At first, he used the room by my bathroom. What the fuck? At first, he used the room my bathroom faced for storage, but in like a just throw everything I don't need into a huge pile kind of way. Sometimes the curtains would be shut, sometimes not, so it's not like he'd given up on it altogether. At least it didn't seem that way. Then one day I see him decluttering the room. The next, I see him stripping all the old wallpaper. I thought, cool, he's redecorating finally. And when he left it bare for a while, I just figured he was taking his time on deciding how to do it. Then one day, I get up for work, and we're talking like 6:30 a.m. early, and I'm half asleep when I look across the alley. Then one day, I get up for work, we're talking like 6:30 a.m., and I'm half asleep when I look across the alley and see him totally butt naked, scrawling all over this totally unreadable scrawling all this totally unreadable writing on the wall in what looked to me to be black paint. I'm staring just like, what in the name of God is he doing? When suddenly, he just turns and looks right at me, like he just knew I was staring. I immediately duck out of the way of the window. Then, when I get the balls to look again, he'd closed the curtains. Those curtains were closed for 3 years before they finally opened again, and the next time I did, Those curtains were closed for 3 years before they finally opened again, and the next time they did, I saw what looked like a full painter-decorator team completely purging the place, painting the walls, tearing up the floorboards and replacing them, the whole 9 yards. I never found out what happened to the guy who lived there, but honestly, I hope he's doing much better. Can you please keep it down? I'm sorry. Am I waking you? It's all good. Yeah, if a mod times you out, you know what I mean, just try to observe your own behavior and see what may have caused the timeout. Because some of the most annoying parts, at least to me, is when people like at me over and over and over and over again, trying to like get my attention for something. It's like, just say what you want to say, you know what I mean? You don't have to at me 100 times. That's just kind of weird and immature, I guess. But it is what it is. Not a big deal. Oh, okay. Where was I? Okay, so these ones I think are true crime related. Here's Wonderwall. What was it that I just gargled with? Probably water. Some people are like back on the stream. Back in October of 1998, Back in October of 1988, 41-year-old Peggy Carr was happily employed as a waitress at a restaurant in the small town of Alturas, Florida. One day, dude, my voice is getting more and more fucking just squeaky as life goes on. Sonic or Chick-fil-A. I don't think we have a Sonic around here, but I feel like Sonic would have better like ice cream shit. Almost like way better than maybe Dairy Queen potentially. I'm just speculating though. There's like I've talked about this before, but there's a crazy line at Chick-fil-A all the fucking time. And it's crazy. It goes out into the fucking main road. I don't know why anybody would like chance a fucking highway crash, you know what I mean, for fucking Chick-fil-A. Like, that shit's not that good. It's good, but it's not that it's not die for it good. Back in October of 1988, 41-year-old Peggy Carr was happily employed as a waitress at a restaurant in the small town of Alturas, Florida. One day, while going about a regular working day, she was overcome by a rather unusual sensation. It started with a numbing sensation in her hands, then progressed to aches and pains in her legs. By the time she informed her duty manager that she was too sick to work, she was starting to suffer sharp pains in her chest. Peggy's daughter, also an employee of the restaurant, was given permission to give her mother a ride home so she could recuperate in peace. But by the time they arrived back at their house, Peggy complained that the pain was almost unbearable. It was then that her husband, Pye Carr, that's an interesting name. I wonder if it's P-Y-E. Let me look it up. Oh shit. Error 502. Alright, it is Pi. Okay. 666 watching. Oh my god. The devil hath arrived. It was then that her husband, Pye Carr, drove Peggy to the nearest hospital to be seen by a doctor. Following her arrival at the hospital, the doctors that examined Peggy were confounded by her affliction. They confessed that it was like nothing they'd ever seen before, and since the mysterious illness seemed to be unlike anything they knew of, they suggested that Peggy might be suffering from less of a physical disorder and more of a psychological one. They began asking Peggy if she'd been this is such a weird sentence to say. She'd been in any undue stress lately. Popeye's red beans and rice are the bomb with a biscuit on top. Greasy, salty, good. Damn. You making my mouth water, bro. The Devil's Brother 667. Lesser known. Not as mean. They began asking Peggy if she's been under any undue stress lately, yet her response was simple. I know it's not my head. This is real. Regardless, the doctors advised Peggy and her husband that she should rest for a few days, and at first, her symptoms abated. Yet within just a few days, the pains returned, only this time, they were even worse. Not only that, but Peggy wasn't the only one suffering from the bizarre symptoms. Her two teenage boys, Dwayne and Travis, had also become seriously ill. Within just a few hours of being rushed to the hospital, Peggy lost both the ability to speak and the ability to open her eyes. The pain was so bad that Peggy had to be tied to her hospital bed in order to prevent her from thrashing around. Then shortly afterwards, she fell unconscious and stopped breathing, forcing medical staff to put her on a ventilator. When Peggy finally regained consciousness, her sister Shirley rushed over to the hospital to visit. The two sisters had grown up in a deaf household and both were familiar with American Sign Language. The doctors might not have had a way of communicating with Peggy, but Shirley did. In amazement, the medical staff watched as Shirley took hold of one of Peggy's hands before signing out the phrase, "Peggy, how are you feeling?" Slowly and painfully, Peggy signed out her reply, IHURT. I hurt. The doctor's inability to identify the cause. Sorry. Fuck me, man. One need not to be a chamber to be haunted. What are you talking about? Is UC ulcerative colitis? Is that what that is? I don't know why though. I put a different type of tea in here tonight. These ones in these fucking K-cups suck. Like, if you smell it, ugh. It reminds me of like, I don't even know, like you're in a fucking, you smell like a bale of hay or some shit at a, like a haunted hayride. And it just like dries out your mouth for whatever reason because you're just arbitrarily allergic or some shit. Pre-gym poop, what's up? What up? Gotta clear out before you clear those weights. You and your friends were questioned by the Denver Police Department. Oh, that's right. I haven't lubed my lips in a while. Let me do that. I don't even know how to describe it. Let me sniff it again. Let me get a sniff. Yeah, it's fucking gross, dude. I don't even know. And it's just annoying because I just feel like it dries out my throat. I've got like a secret allergy to like K-cups. 250 bench coming soon. Let's go. You need to take a video of it. Post that shit on Twitter. Leaky gut. Add glutamine, glycine, creatine, zinc, B vitamins. Try slippery elm, marshmallow root, and aloe. Remove grains from your diet. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you know, half the time our issues are just like removing shit from our diet to make it all better. I don't know about the other shit, but definitely removing some stuff. Like some people have really bad issues with, you know, breads, and a lot of people have issues with dairy. A lot of people have issues with various like vegetable oils and maybe even meat, things like that. You never know how your body is just geared towards. Tea is just hot leaf juice. How do you take your tea? It's just plain, I guess. Just very normal. Okay. Slowly and painfully, Peggy signed out her reply. IHURT. I hurt. The doctor's inability to identify the cause of Peggy's illness meant that they were forced to call in a special neurologist. After a thorough examination of her symptoms, Dr. Richard Holster determined that Peggy might be suffering from thallium poisoning. I'm an all-soy diet, yeah. I only eat the Beyond Burger every time I wake up. What is this? Thallium? Oops. Thallium. Thallium. Hey guys. I love thallium. Alright, thallium is a chemical element with the symbol Ti, atomic number 81. It is a gray post-transition metal that is not found free in nature. When isolated, thallium resembles tin, but Discolors when exposed to air. Chemists William Crookes and Claude Auguste Lamy discovered thallium independent in 1861 in residues of sulfuric acid production. Dun dun dun. Somebody be putting shit. They're putting chemicals in the water to turn this woman blind, bro. Pre-lift poop. Let's go. Do you take any pre-workout? Perhaps. K-cups smell like ass. Yeah, I don't know what the heck. You know, maybe there's something in there just like to keep them from rotting. Or you know what? Maybe I've got rotted K-cups. I'm literally just drinking fucking mold. Maybe that's why it smells weird. Mold. They smell like haunted hay bale and ass. Yes. Pre-work spooky dookie so you don't shit when you squat. This is it's a good point. It's good to get it out so that the interthoracic pressure doesn't just force your guts to protrude from your anus. That's a medical thing. My pre-workout is small rice crispy treat, easy carbs. I guess powerlifters do it. I guess powerlifters do it sometimes. They eat Rice Krispies. It's pretty good. Shit, you need to get fucking big, bro. Let's go. We're gonna be giants. Mold is free peninsula. What do you mean? Have you ever considered using loose leaf tea? Yeah, I should probably be way easier, and just get it's convenient because of the Keurig. You know what I mean? I'm just like, my routine is usually like, I'll tweet. I'll get my tweet ready. I'll say streaming soon on Twitter, and then I restart my computer so it doesn't fuck up, and then I restart my internet so it doesn't fuck up, and then I go upstairs while that's all doing that, and then I get my tea going and my water and my lip lube. PSA, clean your Keurig. I don't think I will. I like the mold. It makes my gut stronger. After a thorough examination of her symptoms, Dr. Richard Holster determined that Peggy might be suffering from a thallium poisoning. Thallium? Fuck, I forgot how to say it again. Thallium. Fucking hell. After a thorough investigation of her symptoms, Dr. Richard Holster determined that Hostler. God damn it, Hostler. Hostler? Fuck, man, I can't read any words tonight. All the words are poison. All the words are poison. Hostler, okay. After a thorough examination of her symptoms, Dr. Richard Hostler determined that Peggy might be suffering from thallium poisoning. Thallium is a naturally occurring element, and almost everybody has trace amounts of the substance in their bodies. However, Peggy's urine samples showed that she had almost 20,000 times the normal amount in her system. Urine samples from her two sons also contain an abnormal amount of thallium nitrate, but not nearly as much as their mothers did. When doctors suggested that Peggy had been poisoned, she began signing the words, "Why? Why? Why?" over and over again. These would prove to be some of her final words, as after falling into a coma, she would go on to pass away on March 3rd of 1989. Following... Stop lying, Joel. There's like 3 hours between your stream soon tweets and you actually streaming. What are you doing between them? I'm making fucking tea, okay? The Keurig is clogged with fucking mold. It's like a slow drip. It's like one drip every... fucking like one drop every minute of moldy tea juice. It takes a bit. When doctors suggested that Peggy had been poisoned, she began signing the words, "Why, why," over and over again. These would prove to be some of her final words, as after falling into a coma, she would go on to pass away on March 3rd of 1989. Following Peggy's death from thallium poisoning, homicide detective Ernest Mincy was assigned to her case. After questioning the Carr family, Mincy learned that just 2 weeks before the poisoning symptoms began, the Carrs had received a rather sinister correspondence in the form of a handwritten letter. Pi Carr stated that the letter had read, "You and all your so-called family have 2 weeks to move out of Florida forever, or else you will all die." The family had originally dismissed the note as nothing but a cruel prank enacted by local teenagers, yet deadly developments proved there were waits. The family had originally dismissed the note as nothing but a cruel prank enacted by local teenagers, yet deadly developments proved there was weight behind those words. Forensic examiners commenced a thorough search of the Carr's home, searching for the source of the thallium. They tested over 400 different items until finally it was traced back to a trio of glass Coca-Cola bottles, with each containing a lethal dose of thallium. When asked where they had purchased the Cokes, it turned out that none of the Carrs had done so. They simply assumed that another member of the family had picked them up. In fact, they didn't normally drink Coke at all. They were a Pepsi family. They also informed investigators that since they believed that their deceased mother was suffering from some kind of digestive issue when she first arrived home from the hospital, they had been giving exclusively Coke to drink. The same Coke that had the lethal doses of thallium in it. It was around this time that forensic investigators officially announced that the Cokes had been tampered with. Some had taken the time to remove and replace the metal caps on each of the bottles. Someone. Where the fuck am I? Oh, there it is. Someone had taken time to remove and replace the metal caps on each of the bottles, but not before depositing a lethal dose of poison in each one. Even more sinisterly, they had then managed to secretly plant the beverages in the Carr house without them being any the wiser. Detective Mincy then went about questioning those closest to the Carr family in order to determine if anyone held a grudge against them. Not a single person had any clue who might hate the family enough to want to poison them, especially in such a cruel and creative manner. They were a rather popular family, possessing many friends and acquaintances who visited on a regular basis, and it wasn't like close proximity to anyone had And it wasn't like close proximity. What is this saying? And it wasn't like close proximity to anyone had fueled. Oh, I see. And it wasn't like close proximity to anyone had fueled any conflict, as living out in rural Florida meant that they only really had two neighbors, in the form of George and Diana Treple. Detective Mincy went over to the Treple house to find that the couple had only pleasant things to say about the Carrs, but when asked why anyone might want to poison them, George Treple gave a rather suspicious answer: to get them to move. It was the exact same language used on the threatening letter they'd been sent, which meant that in Mincy's eyes, George was now the #1 suspect in Peggy's murder. He began digging into George's background and discovered a number of rather interesting things in the process. George and his wife were both members of Mensa, the largest and oldest high IQ society in the world, and organized a series of murder mystery weekends for members of their chapter. This involved setting up imaginary homicides before leading their guests through clue-by-clue investigations in order to solve them. Yet George's past was far from wholesome. In fact, he was a convicted felon, having spent 3 years in prison for setting up one of the largest and most sophisticated methamphetamine labs in U.S. history. This lab had utilized what is known as the P2P method of manufacture. Holy shit, dude. Someone from Florida with fucking meth? Let's go, bro. Who would have guessed? And he's a genius, too, which is even better. I believe Pepsi owns Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I think so. I think they do. The Pepsi Company. How sodas started with, most of them started with drugs. Yeah, we need to get back to that. Back to the good old days. Poopy pants, or poopy ants. Nice. The rare soda is okay. But yeah, water is better beverage than any drink. True. This lab had utilized what is known as the P2P method of manufacture, a method which requires one specific compound fucking goddamn it. This lab had utilized what is known as the P2P method of manufacturing, a method which requires one specific compound, that compound being thallium. What's more, thallium is a heavily controlled substance. It's not like a person can just go pick some up at CVS. So, whoever the poisoner was, they had to have enough knowledge of chemistry in order to manufacture it themselves, knowledge that George Treple would undoubtedly be in possession of. Detective Mincy had determined that George most certainly had the means to poison Peggy Carr. But what about a motive? The Treples seemed to only have nice things to say about the Carrs, but when Detective Mincy spoke to the Carrs themselves, they made it clear that the two families didn't get along. The Treples were a childless, highly educated family who preferred peace and quiet, while the Carrs were a veritable clan who enjoyed social raucous get-togethers in their spacious backyard. Raucous? Socially, wouldn't it be socially raucous, or like socially ruckusing? Raucous. What an absolute raucous over at the Carr household. We're a veritable clan who enjoyed social raucous get-togethers. Okay. In their spacious backyard. Okay. Water is so quenching and refreshing. I love rainwater. Hey, we are at 700 people. Am I a whistler? Can I whistle? Let me see. Yeah, I can do it. I forgot I could do it. Wait. I can make bird noises. I forgot. Well, not really good ones, but hold on, let me do it. Maybe I'll take my headphones off. Why is this hard? Why am I like caught? This was supposed to be quick. I apologize, but now I'm on it. I gotta figure it out. What the fuck happened to my lips? Why can't I whistle all of a sudden? I was whistling like 3 seconds ago and now I lost it. Maybe my lips are too fucking lubed. Holy shit, my lips are too lubed. If ever there was a situation in where lips were just far too lubricated, this is fucking it. Daphne, good night, good night. Take care. What the fuck, man? It's a sick bird. Yeah. Dude, I used to be able to like go like that, but then whistle at the same time, and it sounds pretty cool. I remember I figured out when I was like laying in bed one night. But I can't whistle normally anymore. You asked me to do it. I think the air pressure in the room's just you know, no good right now. too lubed. Carmex literally saves my lips. Yeah, it's the best. I'm humming and whistling at the same time. Ooh. I have no lips. Where'd my lips go? We send my culture that whistling calls the dead. Oh, that's terrifying. I guess the birds are just summon. Birds literally just summon fucking entire poltergeists. Can you do the Hunger Games whistle? I can't even normal whistle right now. I did it like once. What the fuck happened? Am I cursed? I think I was cursed. It's like I can whistle blowing in. Not blowing in, but inhaling. But then coming out. It's like a fucking silent but deadly fart. I'm whistle cursed. Maybe if my lips start to dry up over time, I'll come back to this. But I think the fact that my lips are too lubricated right now. Is that wind I hear? Is the wind speaking to me? Cursed with no ass. Yeah, it's unlucky. So I can't whistle. I could. You heard me whistle. Don't even joke about that. But then I lost it all of a sudden because I tried to do my bird whistle. What the fuck happened? This is a different type of whistle with my tongue. Fuck this. Whistling's stupid. Fuck whistling. The Trepples were a childless, highly educated family who preferred peace and quiet, while the Carrs were a veritable clan who enjoyed social ruckus. Fucking, what is this sentence? Social ruckus get-together. Someone rewrite this for me, please. A veritable clan who enjoyed social raucous get-togethers in their space. Wouldn't it be like socially raucousical? Your cat just pricked her ears up at the whistling. That's funny. We're calling. It's time for dinner. Motherfucker. I'm gonna It's written correctly? You're kidding me. Who enjoyed social raucous get-togethers. Wouldn't it be socially raucous, like an adjective thing? Like, it just seems like... Wouldn't it be socially raucous? Yeah. Socially raucous. I don't know, even socially raucous sounds weird. Carrs were a veritable clan who enjoyed socially raucous get-togethers. I'm looking up another word for raucous. I don't like the fucking word raucous. Raucous. Synonyms. Rowdy. Socially rowdy. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, rowdy, guys. Right? Am I right, fellers? Fucking rowdy, bro. You got my wife to listen to you, and now she'd want to listen to you when... Now, she want to listen to you when we get into bed. Nice, that's awesome. It's your tongue, Joel. Is it ripped out? Socially... What the fuck was the word? Socially rowdy get-togethers. The Trepples were a childless, highly educated family who preferred peace and quiet, while the Carrs were a veritable clan who enjoyed socially rowdy get-togethers in their spacious backyard. This caused them to clash on many separate occasions, and the Trepples seemed to take a particular dislike to the Carrs' two teenage boys, whose trucks were constantly coming and going with their stereo systems turned up to full volume. The boys also owned a pair of ATVs, and would occasionally tear them around the back of the Trepples' property at high speeds. The conflict started when Diana Trepple went over to the Carrs' property to beg them to keep the noise down. Peggy told her she'd try, but that her boys could definitely be a handful. Then the next time Diana called... Then the next time the cars... What the fuck? Oh, I see. Then the next time Diana stopped by, it was with a considerably less civil tongue, with she and Peggy getting into quite a screaming match before she retreated back to her home. But before she did, Pi Carr said Diana issued a rather ominous threat in the form of, "You'll pay for this. Mark my words, this isn't over." When Detective Mincy confronted George Treple with his freshly gleaned information, George was forced to admit that the Carrs had stolen their precious peace and tranquility from the moment they moved next door. Now that means a motive had been established. Mincy had... Wait. Now that means and motive had been established. But Mincy had to prove that George was someone with deep knowledge of the Carr's routines and homeland. Now that oh, I see. Jesus Christ, I can't read worth shit. It's back. It's back, bitches. I've been uncursed. Wait, no, maybe I've been recursed. Fuck me, dude. I can't... Dude, I want to do my bird song for you guys. I want you guys to hear my birdie noises. I remember there was one guy at my baseball games growing up that would do crazy bird noises. It was kind of weird, because why the fuck are you making bird noises at a kid's baseball game? But they were really good. After all, to be able to... Okay. Now that means and motive had been established, Mincy had to prove that George was someone with a deep knowledge of the Carr's routines and home layout. After all, to be able to sneak into the house and steadily place the Coke bottles there, the perpetrator needed to be somebody who had the means to observe the family in order to gain knowledge of the Carrs. Fuck. Son of a beehole. Son of a penis. You still hear the wind? Kim! Give me a fucking break, please. Please. That'd be funny if he went to like... Oh, that would be the worst, dude. Imagine if you were in like a play. You were on fucking Broadway. And now they needed you to do a little stupid whistle. You know, because every random like 1950s like extra, extra, read all about it, type play has to have somebody whistling down the fucking street for whatever reason. And imagine that was the point in the play in which you choked and you lubricated your lips a little too much and embarrassed yourself in front of all the other members of Cats. It would be an absolute fucking nightmare.
Mischievous dog.
I think I have to do it really low. I have to bring my throat, my Adam's apple, very low. Fuck. I quit. Stream's over. I'm out of here. See you guys. Fox's Spooky Stories. Welcome back for 5 months in the Buttersock Cult. How are you? I sent you a message on Insta and you saw it. I sent a video link from Modic's animated stories from 2 weeks ago. Just wanted you to know. What is it about? I'm not sure what it's... But thank you. Thank you again. Welcome back. A hiccup followed by a burp. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Whistle inwards. What if you were eating noodles and you fucking whistled? Oh, that would be nuts. Performance anxiety. I know. This is just too much. After all, to be able to sneak into the house and wait, I don't know where I am anymore. I have old timers. Now that means and motive had been established, Mincy had to prove that George was someone with a deep knowledge of the car's routines and home layout. After all, to be able to sneak into the house and stealthily place the Coke bottles there, the perpetrator needed to be somebody who had the means to observe the family in order to gain knowledge of the car's day-to-day activities. So when Detective Mincy discovered that George Trepple's computer programmer job permitted him to work from home, it was yet another piece of the puzzle. Yet Mincy was faced with one major problem. The Trepples were smart, very smart, and Mincy bet that they were smart enough to have purged their home of evidence long before he ever came a-calling. So how in God's name would he ever ensure a guilty verdict in a court of law? What's more, one of the main benefits of using thallium in a murder plot is that there's a lengthy delay between the time of ingestion and the time of death, making it extremely difficult to pinpoint exactly when the victim was poisoned. To catch smart criminals, Mincy needed a smart play, and that's where Sherry Gwynn enters the pic. Sherry Gwynn. I think it's Gwyn. Le Gwyn. Okay, Gwyn. Jennifer from Texas. What's poppin'? Oh. To catch smart criminals, Mincy needed a smart play, and that's where Sherry Gwynn enters the picture. On April 14th of 1989, Sherry arrived at the Winter Haven Holiday Inn, intent on participating in a Treple-organized Mensa murder mystery weekend. After the mystery was solved, she gushed about how fun the affair was to a suitably smug George Treple. She showered him with praise, massaged his intellect and ego, and confessed a deep desire to befriend the Treples in order to have a pair of true crime buddies that shared her passionate interest in the subject. It's true that Sherry was a true crime enthusiast, but it was more of a professional curiosity than a mere hobby. You see, Sherry's real name was Susan Gorick, and Susan Gorick was an undercover police officer. Susan was tasked with befriending the Treples in order to coax a confession out of them, and Susan was tasked with befriending the Treples in order to coax a confession out of them, and in preparation for the task, she consulted with none other than the infamous Bill Hagmaier of the FBI Behavioral Science Unit. Hagmaier is best known for his death row interviews with serial killer Ted Bundy, and is perhaps the strongest source of inspiration for the next Oh my God. And is perhaps the strongest source of inspiration for the Netflix series Mindhunter. The code name for the undercover operation was Operation Pale Horse. The name was a deliberate allusion to the novel The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie, in which thallium poisoning plays a central role. It was an operation that some believed would take a little over a few weeks. In reality, it would take more than a year. The plan was for Susan to play a character that was trapped in a desperately unhappy and abusive marriage, one that her husband forbid her from ending. The idea was that George would deeply sympathize. Jules Davis, well, welcome. Good to have you here. You love the story? Or that show? Mindhunter. I've never seen it. Is it good? Fuck me, dude. I'm fucked. I'm fucking cursed. Goodbye whistles. I'm gonna have to buy a whistle and just screech it like a referee whistle. The idea was that George would deeply sympathize with the fictional Sherry and would eventually offer to solve her problem by volunteering to poison him for her. As a matter of fact, Susan observed some... Wait, I missed the abusive thing. The plan was for Susan to play a character that was trapped in a desperately unhappy and abusive marriage, one that her husband forbid her from ending. The idea was that George would deeply sympathize with the fictional Sherry, and would eventually offer to solve her problems by volunteering to poison him for her. As a matter of fact, Susan observed something chilling about the first murder mystery night she attended, and that's how one of the make-believe murders concocted by the Trepples was a poisoning. At the beginning of the proceedings, participants were handed a packet of information relevant to the case, and when Susan read one of the pamphlets contained in the packet, a certain passage jumped out at her immediately, and this is how it read. Few voodooists believe they can be killed by psychic means, but no one doubts that he can be poisoned. When a death threat appears on the doorstep, prudent people throw out all their food and watch what they eat. Hardly anyone dies from magic. Most items on the doorstep are just a neighbor's way of saying, "I don't like you. Move, or else." Move or else. George Treppel couldn't help but reference the very murder he had masterminded. He was gloating, and his arrogance would surely be his undoing. Thanks to her endless flattery, George Treppel took an instant liking to Susan's cover persona, and they soon began spending a lot of time together. Slowly but surely, Susan shared Sherry's marital problems with George, tailoring her fictional husband's character to be someone he would despise. But while Sherry did succeed in getting George to hate her made-up spouse, she failed to coax any kind of confession or suggestion of poisoning from him. However, as time went on, Susan was able to get George to confess to other discretions. In his late teens and early 20s, George enjoyed spiking people with LSD. Spiking people. Is this stories about poison? No, just this one specifically. These ones overall are about creepy neighbors. Does Netflix have Redbox machines? I've seen Redbox machines around, but they're kind of like a dying thing, and I didn't know Netflix was the one that, do you mean like Netflix had its own little Redbox situation, or did they own Redbox? Do you remember? Yeah, oh man, I remember those days when Netflix was not just all online or streaming, it was like, yeah, they were like one of the earlier services where you could like rent movies from them and shit, right? Or was that something else? Do y'all's toes and fingers turn to raisin-looking things in the bath? I think everybody's does that. In his late teens and early 20s, George enjoyed spiking people with LSD by secretly putting it into... Okay. In his late teens and early 20s, George enjoyed spiking people with LSD by secretly putting it into people's food or onto their door handles so he could enjoy watching them trip. Susan also discovered that George had once poisoned his wife's dog after a particularly intense argument. She was close to getting confession and she could feel it, but solving the case would take more work than she could have possibly imagined. The big break finally came when the Treppels told Susan that they had decided to relocate. This presented Susan with something of an opportunity. She managed to convince George to rent the home to her until they could find a buyer. She could clean it up a little, apply a lick of paint here and there, and possibly even fetch the Treppels a higher selling price in the process. Only, once the Treppels had vacated, the only work Susan commenced was combing through their possessions for any evidence of Peggy Carr's murder. This was how she uncovered a number of secret rooms in the house, one which was found to be completely soundproof. Chillingly, the room contained what appeared to be a wooden bed, with shackles for strapping down a person's arms and legs. When Bill Hagmaier saw pictures of it, he immediately thought of Ted Bundy. "Nobody builds a room like that unless they've got a purpose in mind for it," he said. "This is a torture chamber." This mysterious torture chamber was thoroughly analyzed for traces of human remains, but nothing was found. If it was indeed for a torture room, then it certainly didn't seem like it was ever used, and Susan later noted that it appeared as if the room was recently completed. Finally, it was while combing through the Trepples' garage that police finally found a bottle which tested positive for thallium nitrate, and at long last, they could establish a concrete connection between George and Peggy Carr's murder. George was arrested on Terry King with the 31 Aussie bucks, and remember to whistle while you twerk. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you. Appreciate that. Oh. I typically bathe for an hour, and so it definitely becomes a raisin. I like to cook like a noodle. Hell yeah. Really, clears out the sinuses. Oh, thank you so much. Hope things are going well down in Australia. Maybe if I whistle this way. Dude, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Whistle while you twerk is a song I told Lil Jon he should do with that Snow White sample, but he didn't write back. You inspired Lil Jon to make that song? That's insane. No music? Oh, yeah, I think the threshold for twerking is 35. I feel bad. I mean, I can still twerk if you want me to. But yeah, I think 35 has always been the threshold thought. God couldn't have blessed you with that voice and the ability to whistle because you'd be too dangerous. I know. I'd be distracting all the local soldiers in Vietnam. Come over here. Come here. Finally was... Oh, wait. Test positive. Oh, yeah. And D-Shore with the $20.46 says, I just want to say happy birthday in heaven to my mom. Smooches. Aw, happy birthday, Mom. Thank you, D-Shore, for the 2046. Finally, it was while combing through the Trepples' garage that police finally found a bottle which Jesus. Finally, it was while combing through the Trepples' garage that police finally found a bottle which tested positive for thallium nitrate, and at long last, they could establish a concrete connection between George and Peggy Carr's murder. George was arrested on April 7th of 1990, with Susan calling him by phone as the police closed in to distract him before they swooped in to apprehend him. Diana Treppel actually attempted to prevent the deputies from entering the home by physically blocking the entrance. When police found George in his room, he was dressed in woman's undergarments. At his trial, George Treppel was charged with the first-degree murder of Peggy Carr, as well as 6 counts of attempted murder for the other members of the Carr family. George was ultimately found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death. He remains on death row to this day. Susan Gorek. Susan Gorek, on the other hand, was named 1991's Florida Deputy Sheriff of the Year for all the sweat and tears she'd put into the case. Cases like this show us that, unless we're actually close with them, we truly have no idea who our neighbors really are. By all accounts, the Treppels were a quiet, intelligent, and wholesome couple, whose quirkiest attribute was a passion for true crime. No one in a million years would have suspected them of something like this, not without digging deep into George's sinister past. And if it wasn't for the fine detective work of some of Florida's most talented members of law enforcement, there's a good chance that they'd still be free to walk among us today. So, the next time a neighbor comes a-calling, asking you to turn that music down, maybe just be a sport and do as they ask.
Hey,
If not, maybe be a little bit more careful about what you eat and drink, especially if that neighbor has a chemistry degree. Especially if that neighbor has a chemistry degree. Football radio with the four. I know. Well, I never thought a question would spark such an answer. Thanks for all the whistling fun. It's my favorite sound. Lol. Getting ready for work. Yay. Well, have fun, football. Thank you again. Yeah. I mean, it was mainly because I wanted to show you my bird noise, because it's pretty fucking cool, and I can't fucking do it. But I'll probably just stay up all night trying to figure it out, and then I'll be doing it. I'll be bird up. I'll be birding up. You wish the podcast was as long. Thanks for the shows. You're welcome. Oh shit, sex bots in the building. Mods, assemble. Fungus among us. Do I smoke weed? I mean, I have in the past, but I don't do it, like, on my own time. I just don't really, I don't know. I'm just not really like a weed smoking kind of guy. I mean, like, I've done it. And I remember my friend, like, because I hadn't done it for a while, so my friend bought me a, what did he buy me? Like a little vape pen that had it. And I would take like 2 puffs off of it. And I don't know, it would just like fill me with like too much anxiety. Like, it would just made my mind race like 100 miles a minute. And I don't know, maybe I got a hold of the wrong kind of shit. And everybody thought I was a leprechaun. But, I don't know. It just wasn't for me. I'm a little zany even when I'm sober, so... Or, you know, when I'm sober, which is pretty much all the fucking time. You just woke up. What story were we? We were actually on the last story of the night. I feel bad. Let's see. Make sure we did everything. The one about graves. The one about the guy building shit. The one about the nice guy. The one about the Hell's Kitchen. Yep. The one about the raccoons. Peggy Carr. Okay. And this is the last story. Can narrate anything. Yes. Soon I will read the phone book. You've been requesting it for quite some time. You took AP Chem in high school. It was fucking hell. Yeah, I didn't really like chemistry. I didn't like it in high school. I didn't like it in college. Like, it's a neat idea, but just like the whole process, and maybe it's just like the early stages of chemistry, but it's like the mathematical bullshit, all like the memorizations, the teachers that I had for it were always bullshit. I don't know. I never had fun in chemistry, even though you think it would be like a fascinating thing. It was not for me. It is kind of crazy how like teachers really make or break an experience. You know what I mean? Cherry, I got a BS and MS in molecular biology. It's old knowledge now, but I worked for quite a long time in biotech. Oh, nice. Yeah, are we close to figuring out how to make everyone live forever yet? How close are we to that? Mega with the 5 says, FYI, I was unaware Yin Yang Twans did a version of that song with the Snow White sample, but no wonder Little John did not write back to me. Har 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 har. Whistle while you twerk. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just sucks. It's like math could be fun. I mean, it's a powerful subject. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen.
But it just, you know, it's a very powerful subject, math and chemistry and all that kind of shit. But it's just, it really requires. I mean, it's difficult. It's just difficult stuff because there's a lot to cover. And ooh, oh, ooh. 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 Yeah. Yo, wait a second. Maribel with the 30. But maybe it is 30. Maybe I'm an idiot. I thought it was 35. But how come that other one didn't go off for the twerk? That's a little weird. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'll do another twerk real quick. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I totally forgot what the twerkable amount was, but who was it that donated earlier with it like $30.99? That should have went off. It's really strange. Catherine with the 5. But thank you guys so much. Wait, I didn't even read. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Maribel with the 30 says, okay, I've been wanting to ask, but what's the story behind the Spaceman for Let's Read? Yeah, so that's basically, you know, back when I was starting my, you know, the Let's Read channel and stuff, I, you know, was looking for what could be my PFP, profile picture, and, you know, like what could I do for that? Because initially I think what did I have? I think it just said like LR, you know, like when I first started. It was like very much like books, like it was like almost like a book background, like banner, and just said like LR. It was very simplistic. And that only lasted for a little bit until I found the creepypasta community. And then I noticed like all of the big creepypasta people were, they had like some sort of avatar, you know what I mean? Like some sort of thing about them that was like recognizable. And at the time, I was also reading some science fiction stuff, but also getting into the horror with creepypasta. So I thought that I would find somewhere in between, and I stumbled across this like, it was actually on Tumblr, which was really random. It was like 70s sci-fi like art, which is crazy. It's a really unique art style from way back in the day, like the science fiction, like the retro science fiction art that you found on like different art books and stuff back in the day. And you don't really see it much too often in contemporary times. But anyways, my thought was like, oh, what if I mixed sci-fi and horror? And I came across that where it was literally just a bunch of skeleton astronauts, and I was like, this is perfect. So that's what I did, and it was kind of like perfect, so I just kind of stuck with it. And then, thank you, Catherine A with the 5 says, I'm almost done with my first year of college, and you have helped me through so many bad times. Thank you so much for being so great, XOXO. Thank you, Catherine. Well, I'm glad you made it through college, and school can be a big pain in the arse, but just keep grinding, stay focused, try not to develop an alcohol dependency while in college, and you will be fine. Speaking of sci-fi, can anyone here tell me what the fuck the movie Dune is about? Pretty much just space worms, giant space worms. It's like the most interesting character in the whole fucking movie. I don't know. I don't really think like I watched a little bit of Dune. I don't think I finished it, but holy fuck was it boring. It was so boring. And it really just like, I don't know, it really just made the royalty of the family pretty much the only characters, but I could not relate to any of them. I hoped all of them would just be swallowed by a big space worm. It was so boring. And if they make a second one, whatever. That's exciting. I wish the best to them, but holy fuck, like, I understand, like, those old novels, there's a lot to, like, fit in, there's a lot to explain, but a lot of it was literally, like, you had to have some, backstory knowledge, you know what I mean? The spice will flow. Lilith, did I miss the whole stream? Kinda, sorta, maybe. We've been going for 2.5 hours, but there is one more story here to go. Giant slimy worms. Oh yeah, it's definitely a good movie to fall asleep to, for sure. Wait, you should also check out the Tropigoth style. It reminds me of you. It's tropical but gothic. Is that... Okay, let me check that out right this instant. Right this instant. Tropigoth. Oh, okay, yeah, like the dark, but like... Kind of reminds me of like cyber goth, or like if a goth person went to Hawaii or something like that. when your parents take you to Hawaii, but you're emo. Should I tell you my creepy neighbor story? You can if you want. Yeah, submit it to the subreddit or email. On February 9th of 2021, police in Chickasha... Oh shit, how do you say this? Also earlier, we went on a walk, me and my friends, and I felt something on my fucking, like, kind of like touching my hair. And it wasn't until I got home, but there was a fucking, like, tick, like, crawling on my, like, hair and shit. And I had to, like, pretty much delouse myself because I was fucking terrified I was gonna have a tick. But God, I fucking hate that ticks are, like... I just hate that. I hate that they're... I don't know. I just hate that they exist. And that, well, they wouldn't be a big issue. It'd be more annoying. But the fact that they have Lyme's disease, or can give you that, like, that shit's... Chickasha. Okay, cool. Chickasha. Whoa. What the fuck? Ooh. Oh my god. That came out of nowhere. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. Ooh, yeah, ooh, yeah, Dread Archive with a 30 Buccarino says, any plans for a St. Jude next month? A St. Jude? What do you mean by that? Is that like an Orthodox Catholic situation, or what do you mean? Or is that like... I'm confused. But thank you for the 30, Dread. And Fox's Spooky Stories of 2 says, it was 3 Walmart stories, the Modix video. Is that... Wait, what are we talking about? I'm confused. Doubly confused by... A St. Jude's fundraiser? Is that a charity event? Oh. There's a St. Jude festival? For, like, charity? Or what it... Like, I'm confused. Is it, like, next month everybody's doing stuff for St. Jude's or something like that? Would you rather see the ghost of a stranger or the ghost of someone you love? Dude, fucking... I guess someone I love, but still, like, all of that sounds scary as shit. St. Jude Fest 2022. Yeah, it's a fucking, like, rock concert. St. Jude's Children's Hospital for Children's Cancer Research. Yeah, I mean, whenever I do charity stuff, I kind of, like, this is just me, though. I kind of prefer not to, like... I kind of prefer if I do a charity thing that the funds actually go directly to, like, an individual. You know what I mean? Like, somebody that I'd be relatively familiar with, or someone that within the community that can use it. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, with charities and stuff like that, it's always, like... the money gets washed, you know, in between. There's like, you know, processing fees, there's this and that. And it's just like a large series of like in-betweens before it gets to the person that actually like needs the money. You know what I mean? And I get that the name sometimes can be associated in a positive way with doing positive things and that kind of thing. But I feel like I'd much rather if I do another, or if when I do charity streams, you know, that it would be specific to somebody specific, because then you could connect with the person a lot more and see how it benefits them. Like when we did Fry's, whenever he had that typhoon come through and destroy his Xbox. How often do you think about death? Kind of too often, probably. I don't know. The one thing I've been trying to like contemplate death from, and there's two ways, you know, you can think about it from like a spiritual thing, which is a little bit terrifying, but you can also think about it from a non-conscious standpoint, which is also terrifying. But mainly just, I don't know. Maybe the concept of like an afterlife is maybe more terrifying if you think about it in the negative sense, like that you're going to hell type thing. That's very scary. I'd much rather not exist than go to hell, you know? But like, St. Jude's hoards billions while many of its families drain their life savings. Yeah, that's the thing, is like I'd rather trust an individual family that needed something for their, you know, whatever, than give it to an organization who might know how to allocate the funds, but at the same time, you got to pay the employees, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to pay the fees. You know, you don't know, you can't follow the money the same way you can by just being like, hey, what's up? What's your fucking Cash App? You know, and you just Cash App them shit. I wouldn't go to hell if one existed. I appreciate that. But what I'm trying to say is, like, recently there's like a little bit of like a stoic perception towards like death, in the sense of like external from like any, like, hypothetically, right? Hypothetically, no, sadly, hypothetically, and this is going to be a sad thing, but hypothetically there's no heaven. Imagine there's no heaven, it's easy if you try. You know, okay. But, you know, a friend of mine once said, you never contemplated non-existence before you were born, right? You know, you didn't think about the thousands, millions, maybe even billions of years before you, you know, or whatever. And you're probably not going to think about it after you're gone as well. So you might as well just come to terms with what time you have and live it up and do your best to treat others well, and it is what it is. But maybe there is a place that we all get to go, you know, smack our bongo drums when we die. That'd be dope. But I don't know. It's hard to fight that stuff. Sorry to talk about that. Do you have any information to back up that statement about St. Jude's? Like, you can't just say that they steal money without the proper facts to back that. I mean, I didn't say it. Somebody else was. I was just reading what they said. I have no facts to back that up. Charities are very good for money laundering. I mean, yeah, all these ideas make sense. But like I said, that's why I don't even want to, like, if I do a charity for something, or a charity stream where I like match the donations, which are great. They go very well. You guys are awesome during it. You know, I would, you know, much rather be in direct communication with a family that would need it, or a person that would need it, you know. ProPublica did a whole expose in it. Is very troubling. Well, you know what I mean? Like, when it becomes, whenever, like, you know, say breast cancer awareness, you know, those like little pink ribbons and stuff like that. Like, there's got to be a business in that eventually. You know what I mean? Like, to the point where it's almost like it behooves people to like raise money for it in a financial beneficial sense, rather than actually like going towards like curing it. Because it's like, when the fuck are we going to cure it? Are we going to figure this shit out? I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just saying that I'm sure that there is a degree of like certain people along the, you know, stepwise fashion getting their palms greased a little bit, you know what I mean? Just to maintain that sort of, but like under the guise that it's like for some grander good, you know? I mean, like anytime you go to a self-checkout, there's always a question about like some donation now. It used to not really be like that. Now it's like everywhere. And my like sort of cynical mind starts to wonder to myself, like, this whole like rounding up thing or whatever for XYZ charity, like, is this some sort of like tax write-off for people? Is this, you know what I mean? Like, what is the motivation here for these stores to just do it, you know? There's a huge bumminess in it. That's why as a female I don't do any of that. Donate to the cause, but forget the ribbon. We don't need the ribbon. Well, right, but think about this. Say a family is struggling with breast cancer bills, you know what I mean? And instead of giving $5 to some random person on the street or to Walmart as you check out, find somebody you know who's having troubles and serve them directly. That way, you don't have to worry about some like giant corporation like, you know, laundering your money or like putting it through some sort of like process that takes forever to get to them, and who knows if they get it. You can just give it to them directly and you're like, here you go, I hope you feel better, you know. It's just, I think that's a much better way to go about charities, or charity, or being charitable, you know what I mean? Don't do a charity, be charitable. Like, that just makes way more sense in my mind. Chickasha. Okay, now I know how to say this one. On February 9th of 2021, police in Chickasha, Oklahoma responded to an extremely disturbing 911 call. On the other end of the phone line, the dispatcher heard a terrified woman screaming for help. the kind of scream a person only emits when their life is in danger. When the responding officers arrived at the address, they forced their way into the property to find 67-year-old Leon Pye lying dead on the kitchen floor, with his 4-year-old granddaughter lying critically injured nearby. Leon's granddaughter would sadly pass away from her wounds while receiving emergency treatment from paramedics, leaving only the survivor of the attack being Delcy, Leon's wife. Yet Delcy would receive life-changing wounds in the form of multiple stab wounds to both of her eyes. In the living room, police found the seriously wounded 42-year-old Lawrence Paul Anderson vomiting on a couch, and at first, law enforcement believed he was another victim of what had been a ghastly and gruesome attack. But just days later, while recovering in the hospital, Paul made a shocking confession. When asked who had committed the attack, Lawrence finally admitted that he himself had murdered most of his family. But they were not the only people who Lawrence had attacked that night, as just a few hours before, he had broken into one of his neighbors' homes at 227 West Minnesota. You donated to Ronald McDonald's through United Way. Yeah, just instead of doing that, just go find, somebody dressed in clown makeup on the street and give it to them instead. Hopefully they give you French fries. My Nana had breast cancer and she bet it. Now she has pancreatic cancer. Oh, she beat it. Now she has pancreatic cancer, but she's a badass lady. She'll pull through. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Cancer is just one of those fucking things, man. But they were not only the people who Lawrence had... Oh, whoops. Well, they were not a... Well, sorry. Why do I keep starting that? But they were not only... Wait, what the fuck? I keep, seeing the words mishmashed in a weird fucking thing. But they were not the only people who Lawrence... Okay, sorry. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, donating blood. Now that would make more sense, because giving blood directly to someone, you kind of need a specialized organization to take care of that. But they were not the only people who Lawrence had attacked that night, as just a few hours before, he had broken into one of his neighbors' home at 227 West Minnesota Avenue before slaughtering and butchering. You and Kajades are my favorite. Who's Kajades? I've never heard of them. But they were not the only people who Lawrence had attacked that night, as just a few hours before, he had broken into one of his neighbors' homes at 227 West Minnesota Avenue before slaughtering and butchering her. After stabbing 41-year-old Andrea Lynn Blankenship to death, Lawrence cut out her heart, wrapped it in brown paper, then took it back home to do something unspeakably horrifying with it. You see, he had volunteered to cook a meal of meat and potatoes for his family that evening, and the meat in question was Andrea Blankenship's freshly extracted heart. When asked why he fed his family the heart of their much-loved neighbor, Lawrence told police that it was, and I quote, to release the demons. As forensic examiners analyzed a series of pots, pans, and utensils that had belonged to the Pye family, it emerged that a hideous piece of judicial misjudgment had facilitated the murders. Lawrence Anderson was a convicted felon, and at the time, crazy you live out right outside Chickasha. Yeah, thank God I had this Forvo to tell me how to say it, because I would have said Chickasha, but it's Chickasha. It's Chick-fil-A.
Listen.
Am I open for voice acting work? Absolutely. That would be super cool. But obviously I would just have to see what project it is. I'm not gunning to jump on like every possible thing. I'm Zamuli, or I can't see it. Zoomy, sorry. My eyeballs are getting bad. With the 5 says, Jeesh, Jeesh, Jeesh. You know what's crazy? You want to hear something interesting about the Jeesh meme? The Jeesh thing that you've... It's kind of a dead meme now, but people say it from time to time still. So, you know, I would watch like Overwatch streamers here and there, right? And there's this one Overwatch streamer who plays tank. He plays a lot of off tank. He plays Zarya. He plays Roadhog. He plays Ball. And his name is Harblue. And he's a cool guy, very nice fella, and like very good at the game. And he would, I mean, it's not like the phrase "Jeesh" is necessarily like unique or anything, but like him saying it was like, he was specific to his like personality and the things that he said like pretty often. And then I forget exactly how it transitioned, whether it was to like a larger streamer or like somebody, maybe it was like in the Apex community or something like that. But yeah, all of a sudden, I like from his stream, it evolved into another community, or another larger community, like, or like at least in a meme format, the Jeesh thing. And crap, I guess I'm kind of missing like the in between, but I'm fairly certain that there was a time in which like it came from Harb. So that was kind of cool, I guess. Maybe I made that up. Maybe that's a bullshit story. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Aglow Sky, A Glow Sky with the 5 says, have you ever seen the movie Constipated? It never came out. Keep up the grind, man. Thank you, Aglow Sky. Appreciate it. Who's my main? Hanzo, believe it or not. And the reason I like Hanzo is just because, like, I play a lot of quick play. I'm a quick play warrior, you know? Not really a big fan of comp. But, you know, with Hanzo, you can kind of, like, deadlift your team. It's like, oh, you know, somebody's at a position, or somebody is at a, and also at a distance, or, oh, that unsuspecting Anna is healing her team. Nope, you just shot her in the fucking face with an arrow, and she's dead. So that's, you know, that's down. Oh, a Tracer's trying to, like, pester you. Oh, nope, perfect fucking flick to her dumb noggin. You know, it's just, it's nice. Whereas, like, I don't know, some other character, like playing Reinhardt, I love Reinhardt, and sometimes you can carry with him, but he's very, very, like, reliant upon the team. Like, there's literally no worse feeling in the world than just sitting there with your shield and being able to do nothing to defend yourself, and you just die, you know? It's lame. Anyways, Overwatch 2, I saw some alpha gameplay footage. Seems interesting. Definitely going to be a very different dynamic, but we shall see. Yes. And I did not get into the beta, so I guess I'm just going to have to fucking wait a trillion years. And he should have been... Wait, oh, I see. As forensic examiners analyzed a series of pots and pans and utensils that had belonged to the Pye family, it emerged that a hideous piece of judicial misjudgment had facilitated the murders. Lawrence Anderson was a convicted felon, and at the time he cut out his neighbor's heart, he should have been serving a 20-year sentence for, among other things, attacking his girlfriend and possessing crack cocaine with the intent to distribute. However, after Lawrence attended a voluntary prison rehab program, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt commuted the sentence to 9 years at the recommendation of the State Pardon and Parole Board. Then, following another facade of good behavior, Lawrence was D short with the 533. The world is the world, no matter how we look at it, and will remain the same. I guess depends on one's perception. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think a lot of people who are like terminally online, as they say, like the more time you spend on Twitter, the more time you spend on Reddit, the more time you spend on like Facebook, all these, I mean, it depends on like how curated your stuff is towards whatever content. But a lot of us like do, you know, as they say, do a lot of like doom scrolling, you know, and we have a really negative perception towards our world, but we tend to forget about our immediate world. You know, we a lot of people get caught up in like obsessing over some really grandiose concepts that may or may not at times be used to manipulate them, you know what I mean? But in reality, there's like their own personal life directly in front of them that may or may not be that bad, and they actually have a lot more control over creating a positive influence in their like immediate community than sort of, I don't know, stopping the aliens from invading or whatever. You thought Overwatch 2 beta notifications came tomorrow, maybe in Spain is different. You know, I'm not sure. I didn't even apply for the beta thing, so that was kind of the thing. I think it was one of those nights where I just hated the game and I was like, I don't want to play a stupid game. I don't want to play a second one. But then now I'm like, wait, does anybody have a beta key? I would like to play, please. Wow, the streamer XQC. Yeah, XQC is cool. I mean, there has been many a time where I've watched some of his stuff and laughed my butt off from just how ridiculous, you know, some of the shit he says is. And it's funny. I don't know. I mean, I don't watch him too often because he doesn't really play the games I'm like really interested in, but he is pretty wild, and he definitely, I don't know. He seems like a genuinely good guy too. He just gets a little bit excitable, you know. Is Monkey Blood saved up too, like for donations and stuff? I don't know what they would. I don't know if they harvest. I mean, maybe they use it for experimenting on stuff based on like similarities or different genetic components for humans, but I don't really know if monkey blood is used on anything. Having some of the liquor Ryan Reynolds just bought actually really, really good. Ooh, Ryan Reynolds. He's a cutie. I remember he was on this like some interview or something with some other co-star of his who was chiefly British, and they were supposed to like do impressions of characters or something, and then like have the other person guess. And he did like a really, really good Stewie impression, and like the girl like had no idea who they were talking about, and then he was like, Stewie, like, or he was like, remember, you know, like baby, child genius, evil genius, Family Guy, and she's like, Family Guy, like had no idea what Family Guy was. I thought that was really funny because it's like every hint he could have possibly gave her, she had no idea. Yeah, Rod Reynolds do be a hunk though. He owns Mint too. He will be a billionaire soon, I bet. He owns Mint? What's Mint? Is that like the liquor brand or? Then, following another facade of good behavior, Lawrence was released after serving just 3 years of what should have been a 2-decade-long sentence. Lawrence was released on January 18th of 2021, with his aunt and uncle volunteering to take him in until he could get back on his feet. The aunt and uncle were none other than Leon and Delcy Pye, the very same people Lawrence would viciously attack after feeding them the torn-out heart of their beloved neighbor. Grady County District Attorney Jason Hicks held a press conference in the aftermath of Lawrence's arrest and addressed the outrage professed by the general public. This has to be addressed by the legislature, he said, and soon rather than later because more people are going to get killed as a result of these kinds of decisions. When is going to be enough? We have seen criminal justice reform in the state of Oklahoma now for several years, Hicks added, and in the process, we put politics and releasing inmates in front of public safety. The goal that we have set in Oklahoma is to decrease the prison population with no thought for our citizens, and that's not fair to the people of the state of Oklahoma. We have come to terms with that. At his preliminary hearing, when asked about bail, Lawrence Anderson told the judge, "I don't want no bail, Your Honor. I don't want no bail," as he wiped tears from his eyes with his still bandaged hands. He could then be heard... Whoops. Probably the chick plays Wonder Woman. No, that's the chick from Gail Gadot, right? Or whatever. She's beautiful, by the way. No, I think it was. I don't even know if maybe it was just some random like co-star in some random. Some people do a lot of random movies that just people forget about just to like get a paycheck. Which no disrespect there, it just is what it is. He could then be heard whispering, "Oh God," over and over, as though he only then realized what a horrific crime he had committed. Yet despite what was a clear show of remorse, Jason Hicks found no reason to grant additional mercy, saying at the press conference in the Says prior. What? Yet despite what was a clear show of remorse, Jason Hicks found no reason to grant additional mercy, saying at the press conference in the days prior. Okay, I was like, days prior or days after? Yet despite what was a clear show of remorse, Jason Hicks found no reason to grant additional mercy, saying at the press conference in the days prior, "The death penalty is on the table." The parents of the murdered 4-year-old Tasha Yates and Toronzo Pai shared their heartbreak at their daughter's death in a radio interview on February 11th. "Tell your kids you love them," Toronzo said. "Do everything with them that you possibly can because you never know when they might be taken away from you." Wait, I didn't know that there were kids killed in this. Tasha Yates and Toronzo Pai. I kind of left here to check it out, and I've been here the whole time. I'm tired, but it's my day off, so I'm treating myself. Heck yeah, let's go. Treat yourself. "Tell your kids you love them," Toronzo said. "Do everything with them that you possibly can because you never know when they might be taken away from you." The parents of the murdered... Did they mention a kid being murdered in the beginning? Scream for help. With his 4-year-old granddaughter lying critically injured nearby. Oh, okay. I see. It said at the beginning, my bad. Okay, so we hath arrived to the end of all the stories. Wait, it's Robin's birthday? Oh my god, I didn't even know. I'm sorry. Happy birthday, Robin. Where is that big stinker butt? Well, guys, if you follow Robin on social media, please do go say happy birthday to the beautiful boy. The beautiful man, sorry. You know what's funny? By saying who you think is beautiful, Joel, you will never guess this. Never guess what? Oh no. Right as Robin, we say happy birthday to Robin, the sex bots show up to wish him a happy birthday too. Do a Dwight Schrute impression. Dwight Schrute impression. Michael! Michael! Let's see. Beats. Bears. Battlestar Galactica. I feel like I'm gonna do like a Jim pretending to be Dwight impression. When I was a small boy, I just need to hear fucking Dwight's voice real quick. Dwight office. What is going on? Coming, Michael? No, I can't do his voice. It's not like... You might remember testing my urine a few years back. Oh, yeah, happy birthday, Robbo. Robbo! Yeah, who heard the sex robots for Robin? Usually if you find someone particularly beautiful, you kind of resemble them. Like, I bet you look like a male Gal Gadot. Yeah, we're fucking twins. She's my sister. I'm in love with her. Don't tell anybody. It's been a tough struggle for me. Oh, shit. Anyway, oh yeah, I gotta read the outro script. Fuck, bro, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it, dude. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about all the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. What should I say? And remember, always order sex bots for birthdays. Who ordered the sex bots? I'm here to grind on Robin. Unfortunately, my ass is made out of really hard, cold, rusty metal. So I hope he doesn't mind actually having his skin grated off around his pelvic area. And remember, I forgot. And remember, Ryan Reynolds does a really good Stewie impression. And remember to always check your Coke. Oh God, no, I don't think I could make a joke about that. Good night, oh yes. Good night. Let's see. And remember, the Saints will rule the world. And remember, my money don't jiggle, it folds. What is that from? That sounds familiar. I don't care. I'm saying it. Thanks, Fry. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, my money don't jiggle, it folds. Oh, I get it. Like, it's saying that they don't have change, they have dollar bills. That's pretty clever. She must work at like a strip club or something, based on those lyrics. I mean, I'm not a detective, but that's kind of what I'm assuming. Believes in unicorns with the 5 says, and remember to whistle while you... Oh, yeah. Oh, no, dude, I'm still cursed. Fuck. Sorry, I yelled. Fuck yeah, bitch. See? It was because I was too lubed. You need like the perfect amount of lubrication in your lips, but not too much. The lips need to be pretty much only lubricated by saliva. But I will figure out how to make my bird call, and I'll bring it back next time. You can fucking guarantee that. You can take that bird call to the fucking bank. But anyways, guys, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for being awesome. Thanks for being great people. Basically, you kick butt. It's wild. It's insane how awesome you guys are. It's so crazy that, you know, maybe tomorrow you go out and ride a bicycle just to like celebrate. You know what I mean? Go for a little jingle, as they say. Joe out here sounding like the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Link songs. Yes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I gotta purse my lips more. Sorry. I tickled. Anyways, yeah, I'll have this edited up on Patreon first, early access, and just so you know, like I said, all members will have, like right now, the patrons have access to the new The Farm creepypasta that I narrated. It's like an hour long, but that will be up on the members only playlist soon. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on social media at Let's Read Creepy, at what the fuck's it called? Let's Read .official on Instagram. Man, all my fucking socials suck, dude. They take too long to say. Anyways, so keep an eye out for that. I will keep you posted. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And yeah, this video will be out tonight at 7 p.m. EST. Thank you. And I'll see you all. How often do I stream? Yeah, so new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. EST. New streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So like the nights before new videos. I'd preferably like to like get a normal sleep schedule. So I don't know what time would work for you guys as far as my streams go. As you notice, I'm sometimes not streaming till like 10 p.m. or after on the East Coast of the United States. But I was thinking maybe streaming at like 7 p.m., which wouldn't be great because like, or maybe they'll be better. I don't know. I don't know if it would be as spooky, you know what I mean, or as like busy. But like 3 hours before that is 4 o'clock on the West Coast, and I don't imagine anyone's like in the mood to get scared at 4 p.m. You know, that's not really necessarily the witching hour. Back to a normal sleep schedule. Yeah, I really need to, just for my own like sanity. Maybe I'll try that right now. Maybe I'll go take some I'll go knock myself out with a hammer right now. But anyways, love you guys, appreciate you, and I'll see you again soon. Adios, muchachos, muchachettes.